this, Wizzy. I'm just gonna lay back and I'ma drop some smooth lyrics. So tune in 7 to 9:30 and don't be late. We about to set it straight. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Word. I'm ready, let's go. Ain't no half stepping, that's the name of the show. Yeah, Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah, Hunters Talk sprinkled with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you wanna talk about, call it, we're hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. With you flowing this show, bring the heat. The word on the street, Wizard Earl on the beat. We superb in the D, legacy online. 7 to 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J, my brother. If they can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, before force. And listen up, this Marcus J start to talk, running back. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, before force. And listen up, this Marcus J start to talk. Steppin', that's the name of the show. Yeah, Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah, Hunters Talk sprinkled with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you wanna talk about, call it, we're hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. With you flowing this show, bring the heat. The word on the street, Wizard Earl on the beat. We superb in the D, legacy online. 7 to 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J, my brother. If they can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, before force. And listen up, Marcus J start to talk.
All right, y'all. Ain't no half step with Marcus J is live. We are in the building as we do at this time every single week. We're ready for an outstanding show. We're excited. This is our 11-year anniversary show. We've been doing this for 11 years, and we're very, very excited about that. We've got alumni reflections that are going to join us later on in the show. Of course, our usual suspects are here. And we're going to lead it off with a very, very special interview with a person who is running for the Dale District Supervisor here in the Richmond, Virginia, Chesterfield County area. We're very, very excited to talk to our brother Jason Melendez about that. So, flagship show, Legacy Net Radio. It's called Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J for the last 11 years. Let's get it.
Yeah. It's about that time. It's about that time to get. Yeah.
Button your lip, open your ears, strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
Ain't no half step on Marcus J live from New Day Legacy Internet Radio. Thank you, everybody, for rocking with us tonight. We appreciate those folks already checked in. right now on our the areas where we broadcast our show live from Facebook live from YouTube Live. Appreciate those folks that are checking us out in our archives. It's because you guys continue doing this, hanging out and supporting us thing. We're going to continue doing this rocking and rolling with you thing. So we're excited. We've been doing this show for 11 years. On December 4th, 2011, this show launched. This show, of course, was a spinoff for the original show that was called The Green Room. And we're very, very excited about that. 10-year anniversary. It was last year. We held it at Brewers Cafe here in Richmond, Virginia. And it was an awesome, awesome, awesome event. But here we are continuing on to the next 10. This one being the 11th one. So we'll have some reflections from our alumni later on in the show. As I had mentioned to you as we open the show, we'll have a very, very special guest that'll be joining us here very, very shortly. Brother Jason Melendez. He is running for the Dale District Supervisor here in Chesterfield County, here in the Cap City. So a lot to get to tonight. We're going to talk about Coach Prime and the him leaving the HBCU and moving on to the PWI. There are a lot of folks that want to talk about that, so we will. We're going to talk about the former president saying that we need to get rid of the Constitution. So we'll have some conversation and reflections around those things and whatever else we actually get into tonight. So we're excited. We hope that you're excited as well. We're getting a hit from our someone is checking us in. So we got Bethel Israel says, interesting. The captions come up even before you speak. So they're monitoring what's being said. Yeah, well, obviously, the closed captioning thing that they have here on his Facebook is an interesting thing. The first time, Bethel, I saw that, I did find it odd, and why it's there, we can certainly debate, but we're not going to do that now. We appreciate you rocking with us here tonight and any other night that you rock with us. Ain't no how Steppin Marcus J is happy and proud to look across the room and see the usual suspects. Of course, we see Brooklyn's own. Our brother John is in the room. What it do, homie? How you doing, man?
I'm better than most.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Listen. People that know me know there's a lot going on in my life, but I still can't fix my mouth to start complaining about anything.
Yeah.
I just can't. I tried this morning to have a complaint. It just wouldn't come out.
It was
just
stuck.
Wouldn't come out.
Like,
it was
right in the neck
yeah,
part.
It just wouldn't happen.
Yeah. It's almost like on Happy Days when the Fonz didn't want to apologize, and so he would go, "I'm."
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that's your complaint.
It's like that. I can't. I just can't, man. It's got. It's just too much good in life. So any day,
cooler than the Fonz too.
Any day here, any day here is just a day to just start all over and do incredible things. And you know what I mean? I went through, it's like early in the month, so I went through bill paying today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I paid my bills out, and that's cool. But
somebody couldn't do it somewhere.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And like I look at my bills and want to complain a little bit, but I paid them all.
Right.
So you got some people that probably got half or even a quarter of what I pay monthly, and they can't pay it. You know what I mean? And here it is. I'm paying more than what the average person pays in a month. And my biggest decision on any day is whether or not to get out of bed.
Yeah.
So I just can't complain. I just can't.
I can dig that. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J live from New Den Legacy in that radio. So I'm gonna have me some fun with our sister now. On our last show, you were christened Bobe, and here we are today. But I am digging that what you got going on here. You see Bobe minus the bow. She is our sister.
I'll figure the bow part out. I will.
Yeah, she's our sister. She's on my right side because she is my right hand. Our sister Step B. What's up, Step B? Yeah. What's up?
You know, I want to be as magnanimous and wonderful as John to say I have nothing to complain about, but I have enough. You just don't want to hear it.
Oh yeah, I could complain.
I could complain.
Oh, I could
You just
complain.
don't want to hear it. But
I might complain tonight.
But I love, the reflection that he makes. There's always when the old people back in the day, your parents, grandparents would say, there's always somebody worse off than you. As a kid, you'd be like, I'd like to see it.
Right.
Where
right.
are they? I don't
Yeah.
believe it. But as an adult, there could be worse situations.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
We get to get out on a Monday night and
Have fun.
yeah, we're not working a second job, killing ourselves and trying to figure it out. And, we're not worrying about our children and their safety. There's a lot to be said for it. So I appreciate the gentle reminder, John. Thank you.
Yeah. I have Steppin on Marcus J live from New Dan Legacy and Air Radio. So Steph, how was your weekend? Did you do anything awesome? What was up?
Friday was a good day, but then Saturday I took it as almost like a binge watch and chill day. First of all, it was colder than I anticipated.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah.
Had everything I needed in the house, all the essentials, nice incense, and and so I binge watched. I got my subscriptions worth out of Netflix this weekend. I watched Wednesday. I started watching some new series. I liked it. It was nice to chill, just me and Lola, my dog, and not be worried about everything, And the day before that, I had a nice lunch with a friend, and we went and had pho down in Little Vietnam, not too far from up Broad Street. And we just had a good time. When you get out with your friends, John, and you guys do it. You get together all the time. And you're having conversation and the conversation is in a space with people where you can be real. There is no pretense. You're not worried about their opinion of what you have to say. You're curious about their feedback. You're intellectually aligned. You're learning things. You're putting things out there. I had that kind of lunch. And it's with somebody I consistently have that with. And I just recognize that there's a lot to be said for having a tight circle of really good friends that are mature. You know what I mean? It's a whole different. I can see why men do this a lot. It's edifying.
Most definitely.
Yeah. I think women could do it a little bit more. I know that there's a lot of focus on different things, and
women will do it more now that the traditional Western gender roles are blending more. So you have a group of women who all may be single and all may be well, when I say single, not married.
right.
They might very well be in relationships, but
Now we want to travel
not with
independently.
kids at home and stuff like that. So they will go out to a bar
Yeah.
and sit around and talk and
That's me.
buy their own drinks.
Yeah.
Not go to a bar looking to have a drink
Yeah,
bought
I don't
for
care.
them. So things are different. So yeah, you'll
I
see
like
it
a
more.
nice bar. I like the bar area at a nice restaurant. So,
I like it at a hotel. That's
yeah,
always
that
been my
too.
thing.
That too. I'm not going to shout out the place I always like to go because I don't know.
No need.
But you're right, and there is a bar hotel I really like here. But I also like I like an environment. I don't need a crew. I could go out with 1 to 3 other friends and we're good. If the friend who needs to have like 15 people to feel like it's lit, I will usually tell that friend, you don't have to invite me.
I've gone
Call
to
me when you
Cabana
want
by
to want it.
myself.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too.
Cabana's it. I will sit out there when the
just
weather's
chill?
not chill and sip my juice.
I'm-
'Cause I don't
You don't
drink.
drink.
I'm the guy that got on an
Sip your
airplane
tropical juice.
and went to Las Vegas for my birthday by myself.
Right.
And we know John travels internationally by himself, but I don't need nobody.
Yeah, I'm good traveling alone too.
Nobody.
Yeah,
Don't nobody
and
like
I
to move like
definitely
I move
don't
anyway.
need
A connect is nice though.
right.
Well, yeah.
Once you get
Well, in Vegas, you don't need it.
Right. Supply.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, even the thing with Shanquella Robinson that you saw, a few weeks back, young woman went on a trip with people in Mexico, and then you don't come home, or you come home in a bag, and now. So I heard a lot of people saying you got to watch who you choose. That wasn't she's a victim. That was not because of who she chose. People don't always show you everything about them. Most people don't come out and be like, "Hey, I'm capable of killing you, so let's not travel together."
Yeah.
You're not thinking that way, So a lot of people are more comfortable traveling alone. But I think as like some of the political environment and things like that started changing, I got a little bit more cautious about that as a single woman.
Yeah.
About traveling alone. But I'm definitely not traveling with a crew. I don't travel with anybody who likes to plan out my day. Like if you
that's a whole thing. That's
if
important.
you're an itinerary person, I'm not your girl.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna do what I want to do. So if I wake up this morning and feel like by 9 o'clock something tropical and liquidy and alcoholic should be in my hand,
that's what it's gonna be.
That's what it's gonna be. And you can go off to the temples or whatever you want. I didn't come here to die on a zip line. I came to relax with a book. I might have my laptop. I'll get some writing done. I will sit in one place on vacation. I just don't feel like, why do I need to be on your itinerary? I do that Monday through Friday back home.
Nah, it'll be time to chill. Ain't no half step with Marcus J live from New Den, Legacy Internet Radio. Bethel, we see your comment. That comment we're gonna hold on to until later in the show. But we definitely want you to stay because this is something that we're definitely going to want to talk about. Shout out to our favorite uncle. Uncle H is checking us out. He's saying peace to the team and the family. And so very, very happy that he is rocking with us tonight. Legacy Internet Radio alumni and dear sister Ross Silk. Our sister author Tracy Hardney Scott is checking us out. She is saying happy anniversary to us tonight. Sister, you are a part of that legacy. We got so much love for you, and it's an honor to see you popping in and checking in. Also getting love from Legacy Internet Radio alumni, our brother Aaron Turner, the Aaron Turner Show. He's saying hey to the fam. So peace to you as well, brother. Keep them coming. We'll be sharing reflections. We'll have some special guests join us throughout the show, but we're going to put a pause on it now because we've got a very, very, very special guest that has joined us, and you should see our brother on the screen. And we're very excited tonight to have a conversation with a progressive voice here in Chesterfield County, here in Richmond, Virginia. I want you all to meet our brother Jason Melendez. He's a Democrat. He is running for the Dale District Supervisor here in Chesterfield County, part of Richmond, Virginia. Very, very excited to have you on the phone, Jason. How you doing, brother?
Very good, Marcus. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's an honor to talk to you.
Likewise.
And I had an opportunity to kind of read through your website and the bio, and it's very, very impressive. Before we brought you on, we had it up on the screen, so I'm just going to run through some of these credentials, and then I'm going to talk with you. We're going to talk with you about the seat that you're running for. But you're a graduate of Chesterfield County Public Schools.
Yes.
Currently a student at Virginia Commonwealth University. Very proud of that. My daughter goes there as well. Wonderful, wonderful university. You are a former member of the Chesterfield County Youth Citizen Board, a member of the Chesterfield County Democrats Committee, Chesterfield Young Democrats, and Chesterfield branch of the NAACP. Smart business leader working to knock down barriers to employment with second chance opportunities and free and low fare rides to work. Jason, it's a whole lot there. Very happy to be able to talk to you tonight. So talk to us about the seat that you're running for. Why don't you state the seat you're running for and tell us why you want it?
Yes, so thank you, Marcus. I'm running for Dale District Supervisor in Chesterfield County. which if you're familiar with Chesterfield, really is a lot of the Iron Bridge corridor, and we straddle a little bit of 288, and we've got some Courthouse Road as well. And really, my why behind this is I wanted to give back to the Chesterfield community that has given me so much, and I want to build a model for responsive and progressive and good government in Chesterfield. And I think the demand is really there for it, and I think there's no better time to really make this fight, especially when Chesterfield Republicans are getting more vicious in their attacks, and we need a fighter on the Board of Supervisors.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So talk to us a little bit about what your duties would be if you were to be selected for this role or elected rather. What would your duties be?
Yes, so a Board of Supervisors is very similar to a city council. For example, a city council, City of Richmond. Board of Supervisors is pretty much the policy making and legislative arm of Chesterfield County. It's responsible for tax policy, the drafting of county ordinances, working to fund our schools, handling the budget, making staff decisions, hiring the county administrator. So really a whole wide array of responsibility over the county, really the general governing body.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Seth.
So and that's a lot of work. It's basically like being the CEO of the county, basically. Let me ask you, what is your response to people who might look at that undertaking as pretty significant at any age, and how do you address that? And what makes you feel most qualified to address all of the concerns that are listed under those points that you make about the position itself?
Yes, and I know there's always going to be the obvious question of qualification, especially when it comes to being a Gen Z and even further a minority candidate. And I think there's a lot of room to really break through that. We saw just a few weeks ago on the midterm elections in November that Gen Z really and millennials really did step up to the plate. And I think now more than ever, it's really time to hear our voice. We had the first Gen Z member of Congress elect, Maxwell Frost from Florida, who will be entering Congress as the first Gen Z member. And I think, I certainly don't have any doubts about my own qualifications for this position. I've been working in the community. I've served on a county board before. I'm familiar with the needs of the Dale District. And I believe, and I live by this motto, you will never see the change that you want by electing the same people.
I like that. I like that answer. What would you view as the biggest opportunity as you kind of come in and you assess what's going on? When you come in, and we're supportive of you, that's why you're here. And when you get this job, what's the first thing you're going to tackle?
Yeah, so I've really been a big champion on really 6 to 7 core issues, and it's really hard because sometimes you can really only drill down on just a few key priorities. I'm very concerned about transportation and traffic in Chesterfield County. In September, we had a series of fatal accidents in the span of a week or two just on Iron Bridge Road, which is a corridor that runs in my district. And I think the county has overlooked, maintaining some of our rural roads, and that's where we're seeing a lot of folks get into accidents, whether they're with animals, other vehicles, or simply crashing into a tree. It's unfortunate because we have the opportunity to work with VDOT and our regional partners to step up our game on maintaining our roadways, and it feels like we've really let it fall behind. I live off of Centralia Road in the Dale District. And we've had a series of incidents on Centralia Road that have shut down Centralia Road at various times of the day. So I think many residents are really concerned. I know a lot of folks would really be interested to see expansion of transit, GRTC transit into Chesterfield, which is something I'm familiar with from working in staffing and recruiting. We have folks in Chesterfield that have a hard time accessing employment opportunities, specifically low-income folks, if they don't have their own transportation.
First of all, that's a great focus. We've been watching infrastructure money being allocated nationally, and things like that become important when you start to drill down to the state and local level. And a lot of people don't think about it when they see Pete Buttigieg out there, talking about infrastructure. They don't realize the micro level of infrastructure, but how it impacts us here on a macro level. So thanks for addressing that and making that a part of the platform. So you mentioned supporting the schools and defending the teachers, and I can make certain assumptions on the basis of the party that you represent, what that means. But would you clarify for the audience what that means, supporting schools, defending the teachers, and what that will mean for the students that not long ago you would have been a part of that body?
Exactly. I always love to tell folks that I got my start in Chesterfield politics, advocating on education, whether it was defending our LGBTQ plus students or supporting our teachers in their effort to gain collective bargaining, which is a movement that has really spurred in the Dale District schools, whether it's mental health or teacher staffing shortages and bus driver staffing shortages. But we've seen this development of folks that are in Chesterfield that are going after a lot of our teachers and public school employees. And I feel sometimes that we don't have elected officials in Chesterfield that are willing to stand up for our education system. We've got great schools in Chesterfield County. I'm proud to have graduated from Chesterfield County schools. So for me on the Board of Supervisors, that looks like using the budget to make sure our teachers get the pay they earn. It looks like making sure we work with the school board to finally approve collective bargaining, dealing with the staffing shortages with the hardest staff schools, supporting our ESL students, which is a big population in the Dale District, and supporting our special education students that have sometimes been overlooked in Chesterfield County's school division.
Yeah. Great answer. I mean, and I hate to say great answer like you're a candidate on a pageant, but it's important, to really be able to explain to the people what that means. I'm the parent of 2 Chesterfield County graduates from Clover Hill, and I could often hear at different levels where there was a lack of resources, even when they were doing some redistricting and children were coming in from lower socioeconomic parts of the county into upper middle class areas, and some of the transitional needs that related to some of the IEP needs and being able to advocate for those students and things like that. So I'm happy to hear that is something that you're looking into and advocating for. My final question is about integration of the generations. You mentioned Gen Z. I love that Maxwell Frost ran and won. I'm the parent of Gen Z, parent of a very young millennial, the last year of millennial. So I have a 24 and 26-year-old. And we have a lot of conversations. One of my children serves in the Air Force. We have a lot of conversations about politics and what that means and how it reflects. And there are 65 million Gen Xers. So we're a really, really small population of people. A lot of our experiences and a lot of our mindsets kind of overlap a little bit with Gen Z. A lot of my Gen X friends will say, "Oh yeah, my Gen Z thinks a little bit more like me than my millennial." And what I realize that says is we're going to have an integration or a meeting of the minds. There were a significant amount of baby boomers that were reflected in all of these positions that held on perhaps a little too long. There was not enough time or amount of Gen X in the position, so it kind of leapfrogged. What do you see as opportunity to integrate the generations in the community as you're working on these boards so that you actually get things done?
Yes, I think, I've really thought hard about that. And it's a really good question. And, let me even just back up and say thank you for your child service to the United States. And thank you for your family's commitment, because that is a family commitment as well when you have a close relative who's in the armed forces. So thank you for that. But, I've thought about that question a lot. And I've talked to so many folks who have really reiterated the importance of, reaching out to younger generations, especially for elected officials that have been tenured in office or older elected officials. You know, organizing Gen Z and millennials is a little bit different than organizing older members of the electorate. And we have to really make sure that we're reaching those folks, not just for their vote, but for their voice too. And those are two separate things. And that's, you know, really part of the reason why I'm so proud to be a Gen Z candidate, is because I'm not just willing to be used for my vote. I'm willing to show up for my voice. So any opportunity I have to reach out to younger folks and encourage them to, you know, give back to their community, whether it's through nonprofit work, political organizing, serving on a county board or commission or a city board and commission, I'm really the first to, you know, let them know you've got to do this. It's important.
Right. Thank you.
Overall, I really don't have a question. I just want to say thank you, because I really appreciate someone your demographic and your age group with so many things around you, so many things to be involved in and hold your interest, that you would take a genuine interest in public service and the body politic. And politics is, you know, as we know it, is so much missing and it needs new ideas and new energy. And I just want to say thank you for your time and your commitment for participating. I really appreciate it, and I believe a lot of other people appreciate it as well.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Absolutely. I'd like to echo that sentiment, Jason. You know, your answers were impressive. You're impressive. It'll be time to show and proof. You know, the folks in Dale will have to decide if they agree with me with regards to how impressive you are. But what I will tell you is I live in Dale. I am a part of your
We love to
constituency.
hear that.
Yeah. You know, and I saved that for my final comment to you for a very specific reason. I want to know, as you close, speak to me as a voter who is on the fence about you and you're getting ready to take it home, your final push. What would you say to me as a voter who's on the fence about you? And I actually, and this is a real situation because I do live in Dale. I live in Dale. You know what I mean? I live off of Iron Bridge, and I always talk about Chesterfield. I live off of Iron Bridge in Chesterfield County, so I live in Dale. So how would you talk to me if you saw me at a rally or at some sort of event and we dialogued? And the last thing that I said to you before you responded is, you know what, Jason, I'm just not sure about you. What would you say to me?
Well, you know, Marcus, you know, it's a really good question because, you know, that's a question I'm going to encounter so much throughout this campaign. Obviously, we're just getting started, and being in a primary, this is going to be a pretty long 6 months. But, you know, I boil it all down to the factor of change. You know, having a progressive fighter on the board of supervisors that will, you know, defend our schools, restore trust to the board of supervisors, you know, make sure that we're taking care of our transportation grid and our transit services and growing responsibly, supporting our diverse communities in Chesterfield that have often been overlooked, our low-income communities, our minority communities. And I think right now, more than ever, as Chesterfield is experiencing rapid growth, really on track to be one of the fastest growing localities in the Commonwealth, not only do we need a fighter on the board, but we need someone who's strong on the issues, making sure that, you know, when it comes to the environment, we are doing everything to protect our resources as we expand, fighting gun violence along the way, because obviously that's an issue. I've grown up in my time, you know, day after day seeing instances of gun violence. So it's really important to have someone that is definitely strong on the issues and will take that passion every single day.
Jason, it's been a pleasure talking with you today. I look forward to talking with you again. I would leave an open invitation for you to rejoin us as we get closer to Election Day. I would imagine there'll be more for us to talk about. There'll be more things that you'll want to share. There'll be more questions that you know that folks will be interested in hearing you answer. But I think you can handle it. You represented yourself very well here today. I am very happy to have had the opportunity to speak to you. And I think that I speak for our brother John and our sister Steph when we say thank you for your service thus far. And we look forward to seeing you work and move in the future. Jason, you're a rising star, and we look forward to seeing you grow, bro.
Thank you so much, Marcus. And I would just leave with one last message. I encourage anyone that's watching to visit jasonforsupervisor.com. You can use the word for or the number 4. But if you really are interested in learning more about my platform and getting involved in this race, I'm glad to have you on board.
Jason, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. You know how to get in contact with me. If you need a voice, you have your voice here. Make sure you use it. You got it?
Thank you so much, Marcus. Have a good night, everyone.
Peace to you,
Good
bro.
night. Thank you
Peace
for
to you.
being here.
Ain't no hashtag with Marcus J live from New Den Legacy Internet Radio. I came away from that very impressed. I look forward to seeing the brother move and work. He is running in my area. I came away impressed, which is the reason, when we do these things on our show, we are technically the media, but not really the media, but sort of the kind of media, but not really the media.
We're part of the media.
We are part of the media, but I'm always transparent, with regards to my fondness for people. We interviewed Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger before she was elected during her run up, and I was very impressed with her when I talked with her, and I told her on the air, I'm probably gonna vote for you, and I did, and she won. And it's because of her appearance here and on this show and the endorsement that she's and she was reelected to that post. And I think
shout out.
You can attribute it directly to the interview that she did with us.
Listen, and shout out to the Black politicos, because everywhere I went, she was present.
Yeah.
She was present at a local coffee place.
Oh yeah,
space,
yeah.
And, shout out Monica Hutchinson, Jewel Jordan. I mean, they had that lady everywhere.
Yeah, and well, this is the same goes for you.
Her team is
the same for you, Jason, because your appearance here is a good omen for you, bro.
It's easy to go around when you carry like she do. So
yeah,
she I know.
Wasn't she FBI or CIA?
CIA.
Yeah. I know 2 of her commercials had her firing a pistol, so I'm like cool with that.
I ain't mad at it.
Now I would like her to come back and answer questions about
thus far
alignment and whether we are getting our votes worth. Because that's a different conversation.
We definitely put her over when she was going through the process, but there's a lot,
there's a lot to
be talked about now. But to put a bow on our past guest, Jason Melendez. He's a Democrat. He's running for the Dale District Supervisor. We're very, very happy to have had him on the show. We look forward to continuing our support for him and his family and his plight towards the seat that he runs for. Ain't no how stepping with Marcus J live from New Den Legacy and that radio. All right, so we took that break to have our conversation with Jason. And so now we'll go back and there's been some salutations that we have gotten thus far, and let's get them in. Our brother Joseph Font, he's saying happy anniversary. Peace to you, Joseph. Cousin Tony is checking in. He says happy anniversary, cuz. Happy anniversary to us. Thank you. And then she just checked in and said good morning. She checked in and said good morning on our 11-year anniversary show. She was present at Brewers Cafe last year for our 10-year anniversary show. She was present when we had previous anniversaries at Brewers Cafe because, we supported them a lot over the years. Mm-hmm. And we appreciate you for rocking with us. And we're going to look into the camera and we're going to say, good morning, Sue. Yeah. No half stepping with Marcus J. Live from New Den Legacy Internet Radio. And we're getting a hit from Legacy Internet Radio alumni, our sister, our friend, and my twin, DJ Renee Melendez, is saying, good evening, fam.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah. That name sounds very familiar.
Right.
Yeah. And ask there Marcus J live from New Den Legacy Internet Radio. All right. So at the top of the hour, we're going to have a series of quick hits from some Legacy Internet Radio alumni. They'll be checking in. Right around 8 o'clock, we'll have 3 of them, and hopefully by 8:30 we'll be done with those reflections. We're not going to have them for long, but they're going to call in and just kind of share their experience being a part of what we do here, what we've done here, and how awesomely great they are because they've moved on to do great things themselves. So we'll have them come on. I won't tell you who they are yet. You just had to watch and listen, and you'll find out shortly. Our sister Michelle K is checking us out. She says, "Happy anniversary." Yeah, the coach is checking us out. Our brother Sean Mears, the coach of Twa After Dark, he is checking us out, saying, "I'm rocking with y'all." Yeah, we appreciate you, brother, more than you know. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so as we say, or as I say at this stage of the show, at the risk of sounding too corny, but I'm a corny dude by nature, so I don't mind. I'm gonna say it. Let us move on. Yeah, let us move on. All right, actually, you know what? Before I move on, we got some more salutations. Let me get a couple more salutations in. Our sister, let's see, our sister Michelle Wilson is checking us out.
What's up,
She
Mama
said happy
Michelle?
anniversary. Yeah, and let's see. There's so many, and they're coming in from so many different places. Sue says, and let me just before I read her comment, she wasn't the first one to say it. She says, "That hair is cute, Steph B."
Thank you,
She
Sue.
wasn't the first one to say it. Tell him what I did.
I
Tell him what I
appreciate it.
did. Tell him what I did.
When I walked in the door, he gave me the type thing.
What's
Yeah,
like,
made me feel like a grown woman.
hey man, I looked at I looked at it. I said, "Hey girl,
You
hey."
did. That's exactly what you did.
It's like, oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, you know, a little
All right,
something different.
let me-
Thank
let-
you, Sue.
let me
You know, hair for Black women is it's a lot. It's a lot. So any change, transition, anything about it can become dialogue, conversation, breakdowns. And so it's nice when the sisterhood and the brothers
Yeah.
just, acknowledge it and say, I see you and I feel
Honorary alumni is a phrase that I just coined.
you.
But we getting some love from honorary
giving
alumni.
people get honorary
Our
degrees.
sister joined us back in 2016 for our Halloween special show. And she led a segment of that show on a woman called Marie Laveau, I think was her name, out of New Orleans.
Yeah, she was. Yeah,
And
Marie
we
Laveau
talked about Marie Laveau, and we've been
That's a scary story.
well, I learned that night.
Yes.
I learned that night, but our sister Journey taught us about her. And Journey joined us on that show. And Journey, you are absolutely honorary alumni. Certainly because of how you have hung with us here on this show since then, but just how you've been a sister to all of us here on the show. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you as well. Let's see. And Renee Melendez says, "I love Steph's hair. I say ditch the bow. That's good on you."
It's hard to ditch the
Can't
bow.
ditch the bow, man. That's a
Maybe some
trademark.
bow lock accessories. Yeah.
We might
If
be able
somebody
to
is
do
out
so.
there that
Yeah.
knows where I can get some bow shaped lock accessories. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sister. I appreciate you.
Yeah, Ado Astel, Marcus J. Live from New Delhi, like I said. Right. All right, so let us get to. We got two big topics tonight. One we'll introduce now. The other one, we'll introduce on the other side of the alumni checking in. But the one we're going to talk about now is Prime, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, who left the HBCU and has moved on to the PWI. And there are a lot of folks who have interesting comments about that. There are those who have no problem with him leaving. And then there are those who have a big problem with him leaving. And I'll share how I feel about that as we progress. I'd rather hear what you all think first and what the panel thinks first. But Deion was the coach at Jackson State University, which is an HBCU. He was the coach there for 3 years. After his 3 years, he has decided to move on to Colorado. That decision was made over the weekend, and he is now the head coach in Colorado. Now, there are a lot of people who have a problem with that because of him leaving the HBCU and I guess the shine that was given to that particular team, the HBCUs in general, simply because of his presence, the fact that he is a Hall of Fame NFL player, the fact that he is a Hall of Fame personality in pop culture. I christened him that. There's no Hall of Fame for being a personality in pop culture. Y'all know what I mean. It's analogies, man. Stay with me. The fact that it's just Deion Sanders, it's going to be some conversation about it. And so I want to know what y'all think about it. Now, we got a hit early on. Bethel Israel, check this out. I've got Bethel's comment on the screen right now, but I'll go ahead and read through his comment for those who are not looking but are just listening. He starts, I don't know when y'all going to touch on the subject. Hold on one second. Got a couple of different things going on. Bear with me, be patient. All right. I don't know when you're going to touch on the subject, but as for Coach Prime, it's like, damn if he does, damn if he don't take job, but I am surprised he bounced so quickly. I thought he would have stayed at least a season or two longer to solidify the culture of football there before leaving. Basically, I thought there was more devotion to the black men there within that institution. Colorado been great. Let us become great now too, but I guess it is what it is. So Bethel, we appreciate your comment. Thank you for rocking with us, and thank you for sharing with us on that. So let's talk about it. John, I want you up first on this one. Talk to us on your thoughts on Coach Deion Prime Sanders leaving the HBCU for the PWI, and for the purposes of this conversation, y'all can say whatever y'all want to say, but I will lay out how I want this to go, which is the reason why I led with HBCU and PWI. I mean, I said the names of the schools. I did, Jackson State and Colorado, but I want to talk about the conversation that we as Black folks are having, where we are talking about him leaving an HBCU to go to a PWI, predominantly white institution. That's really the heart of what I want to get to. Having said that, say what you want. That's what I want to talk about. John, you up first on that. What you got, bro?
First off, I got a little bit to say, but the first thing I'm gonna say, I don't have a problem with them leaving. I have a problem with them not trying to keep them. They didn't make a counter offer, right? You could have put together 4 multi-millionaire athletes to not even put up money, but just take some money and put it in an investment strictly for the football program that could have kept him and his team there, right? What he wanted to do, and he said several times, is he wanted to elevate the program onto the next level, but he couldn't do that with skill positions. He needed linemen. And you can't get linemen at HBCUs because the facilities are too jacked up and nobody wants to upgrade the facility. For God's sake, they had to move the hotels to take showers and drink water. You know, that institution had an opportunity to win with having Deion there. They had an opportunity to keep him there. He brought former coaches from the NFL who took downgrades in pay and status just to be on his team of coaches, right? And Colorado came with a wonderful package. They gave him, like 95% autonomy in operations. He has a wonderful relationship with the athletic director. He brought everybody on his team he wanted to bring. He's bringing 10 to 20 kids,
including his son,
sons maybe. and all-star recruits he already had, skill positions. And also the athletic director, not Prime, but the athletic director, the school president, and some other people, not because they were asked to, but because they felt it was a good thing to do, decided to create a financial package that they're going to send back to Jackson State. Right? And he didn't even ask for it. They just said, no, they're going to feel you missing. So we're going to put something together financially to send back to them. Right? So he gave them a blueprint. He lent them his name. His name will forever be associated with them. They can grow off of what he left, or they can be bitter and fall back into obscurity like they were before he came. But being a part of a HBCU is important, right? But as the person that Deion Sanders is, he has a much greater opportunity to have a much greater impact at Colorado State, right? If he can duplicate what he did in Jackson State there, it brings attention to so many things. It brings attention to executive positions, coaching positions in college football, and that reflects on the NFL. Although he said he has no desire to coach the NFL because it's not genuine. I can respect that. And he really wants to, work with kids. That's his thing, young adults. 70% of Colorado's team is African American, and when he's bringing over who he's bringing, and someone that's going to leave, it's probably going to be about 85% will be African American once he gets started. So he's still impacting young Black children. He's still presenting an example to the African American community of what a positive male looks like. And I'm not at all in step with him in his religious belief, but he starts and ends everything with thanking God. And some people find that quite admirable. He doesn't take any credit for himself. And listen, I saw the podium interview with the press, and I saw the interview he did with the students, with the ball players. And I wish he was running instead of Herschel. I tell you that. Not that I would necessarily.
Way more diplomatic.
Yeah, not that I would necessarily vote for him either, because he's not a politician. But I'm just saying, somebody who has the ability to get a message across, and someone who presents themselves as themselves and very genuinely does so. Even he made a statement like, I'm made choices in life, and always like to think when it was time to go left and time to go right, I made the right decision. And he said, well, wait a minute, maybe not with a couple of my marriages, but that's real. And then he looked over at his son like, sorry.
Yeah,
listen, that you don't get realer than that. You don't get realer than that. And this is a single individual who played both sides of the ball in football. At the same time, he was playing baseball. And as a defensive player, eliminated at least 30% of the field, 50% of the field that you were going for. He eliminated it from your offensive option. There's nothing more to be said about who this man is. And just watching him, he's a peer. He and I are the same age. We came along at the same time. We've been in the same spaces. We know a lot of the same people. And he's never not been that same man that he is right now. And I just think it's incredible. I wish him nothing but the best. And as far as people talk about walking away from the HBCU, y'all need to stop. Y'all need to stop, because like I said, give me LeBron, Floyd Mayweather, Jay-Z and Tyler Perry, right? They could have put some money in an institution and had that program rock off the interest and them not lose a dime, right? Money they ain't doing nothing with. Could have had Colorado's paying them $5 million. So with his coaching staff and other stuff, it might come up to about $10 million. They could have had $10 million a year flowing into Jackson State, and he would have stayed. And they would have got some linemen, and they would have eventually moved into another conference. But that's not what they wanted. So black folks, stop it. Let the man do his job.
Ain't no hashtag Marcus J live from New Den Legacy Internet Radio. Steph, I want to know what you think about this topic. Deion Sanders is leaving an HBCU. He's heading to a PWI. I keep saying it that way because I'm purposefully trying to stir up some shit, because I'm seeing that shit that I'm trying to stir up in my social media. John made a very sound, logical argument for why this happened. I don't know where you're going. I have no idea. In the interest of full disclosure on these topics, we often will tell each other, nah, I don't want to talk about it. It's like, it's almost like the spoilers. Like, don't tell me about Black Panther. I ain't seen it yet. I ain't seen it yet. Don't tell me. Like, tell me online when we on the air. So I don't know if you're going to agree, disagree, or any of those things. I know what I'm doing. I'm being the person who is setting it up this way because this is how I'm seeing it in social media.
Yeah.
In social media, it's coming off a certain kind of way. I'm going to speak last on this. John was first. You up now. What's your thoughts?
So originally, I thoroughly was looking at it from, which I don't disagree with anything you said, from John's perspective of a man and his career and what does he owe an employer. The fact that he said in an interview back in 2019 that if a larger institution calls, will he entertain it? He said, absolutely. He didn't even pause. He said, absolutely. He let you know, like, this man could do his job, the encouragement, the nurturing. He did everything he was supposed to do and then some under that 3-year contract. And like everybody at the end of a contract, an employment contract, you have an opportunity to look at what you want to do. So I agree. And that's why I'm going to leave that. Now, where it's being discussed in the Twitterverse is HBCU versus PWI and what is owed. And I really question, now, I didn't go to an HBCU. People who do tend to be very protective of it to a point of where it's often, my thing is, let's have real conversation. No, there are things, and I would point people to a study done by Kelly Elliott and Tim Kellison at Georgia State. And it's called Budgeting for Success, Comparing Finances Between HBCUs and Predominantly White Institutions. And they even get into, all of the issues that happen federally and underfunding and things like that. But they talk very specifically about the engagement of the boosters. So as I was reading if you really believe in HBCUs, you will stay and you will sacrifice everything and you will give to them because blackity black. Part of me also thought, where are the alumni of the institutions? Because when you look at the breakdown of income coming into these PWIs, the athletic boosters are pushing these programs over the edge. Athletic boosters are the reason that certain corporations are putting their names on these institutions and so on. Where are the boosters from the HBCUs that could be just as responsible for making these programs the athletic part? I'm not talking about the educational grants that the government has underfunded them with and everything else. I'm specifically focusing on the athletic part. Where are the boosters? Where are if we're saying, and I know there's all the other elemental things that happen in society, but if we're saying that we want this man to be 100% committed because it's HBCU and how dare you go and choose people of no color and go to a PWI? My question then is, why aren't you just as upset as your alumni that are not contributing to your university in meaningful ways? And meaningful ways means pushing the athletic programs over. It is your $1 million boosters. Or have you not put out that level of financial talent? Did the education not create a basis of individuals that can support the university the way that those PWIs did? This is the thing that I always feel about anything that is for us by us. Don't give me less than, don't give me half, don't give me a quarter, give me everything. Give me everything that PWI would have given me. Don't allow, keep the standards rigorous. They often are not as rigorous as they should be. Keep the attendance policies where they should be. Do not move things around. Do not move the ball, so on and so forth. And once you start to have a standard like that, then you also say, well, alumni, where are the contributions? Where is the money that should be flowing back? Instead of just sitting back and saying HBCUs don't make money, these coaches are not being paid. We can understand educators not wanting to teach in Chesterfield County because they're not being paid. We should not just say, well, it's HBCU and we got to give each other grace. No, we have to get to a point of where the standard of how we serve one another and what we offer one another is the same as the PWIs. And truly, I don't care about them. I care more about the conversation that people are not willing to have because we're protective of our institutions. There's a Black institution, a banking institution in my community that I would love to support. There is no return on the investment for doing business with this institution. Their rates are not where they should be. They can't even keep the property in the building looking like somewhere I want to walk in with cash money in my hand or a check in my hand. They do not engage with the community.
We know who she's talking
Yeah.
about.
And I would challenge them. Come on this show. Let's talk about it. But I'm using them as a point of, I often hear they don't have the fund under management that other banking institutions have, and so on and so forth. And I will tell you, business is business. You're not doing the job to allow that. So for the HBCUs, are you going to constantly put yourself in a position of needing grace and needing someone to give you a break? Or are you going to put yourself in a position of where you want to be here because this is where you need to be? You want to be here and we are paying you and able to keep you. Just like we should be telling our Black students at HBCUs that when you are underpaid in the work world, you should leave. You should go and find. So why not set the example? Instead of just saying we're an HBCU and that should be enough.
Yeah, I think that there's something to be said for that. Ain't no Steppin, Marcus J, live from New Den Legacy Net Radio. All right, so Bethel says he didn't know all of that. He's referring to when you were speaking, John. So you kind of schooled the brother. Our brother, another person, I guess we'll call him honorary alumni. The Rev D-Train, our brother, Reverend Taylor, is saying congratulations, Coach Prime. Joseph Font says the presence of Coach Prime radiates everywhere he goes, even at Colorado. The tree will be shaken. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J, live from New Den Legacy and Radio. All right, so I told y'all before that we were gonna have a series. I told y'all before that we'll have a series of alumni guests that are going to be joining us, and the first of the three has joined us. Our brother, Coach Miz of Twi After Dark, is joining us right now. What's up, Coach?
Good afternoon, y'all. How are you? How are you?
Man, I'm so happy to see you, a smiling face. What it do, homie?
Hey, man, it's always good to see you guys, man. It's good to see the brother and the sister as well. But Marcus, man, salute to you. I have a list of things that I want to read off to you to celebrate your anniversary, if you don't mind, before we get into the topic. Or do you want me to get into the topic first?
Well, I'm humbled by even the sentiment. So, we got a limited amount of time, so I'm gonna have you do that first.
Thank you. And
'Cause I got a couple
I'll
of things
make
that
it
I want
quick.
to make sure that we have enough time to get into with you as our guest. So
Absolutely.
go ahead, you go first, bro.
Well, as always, man, my gratitude comes out to Legacy Internet Radio and you, Marcus J. You've allowed me to be 1/3 of TWI After Dark. You've also allowed me to be on the host of On the Hot Seat with the Coach that has over 32 recorded shows. That has launched me into being the current PA announcer for the Richmond Black Widows, the PA announcer for the Richmond River City Sting, the PA announcer for J.R. Tucker High School, Highland Springs High School, Longwood University, and VCU Women Athletics. Thank you for launching my
Right.
career.
Yeah,
Look
yeah,
at that.
yeah, man. Yeah, I'm
So
so
salute to you,
bro.
sir.
yeah,
Thank you, sir.
I'm happy to hear those accolades for you. You kind of led, in a way that you're gonna put me over, but bro, that resume for you is impressive.
Yes.
It is a big part of the reason why I wanted you to be one of our alumni featured guests. So I thank you. Thank you humbly for being my brother and being a part of Legacy in that radio. And we love you. We love Kilolo and we love Bella. Twilight After Dark, when it launched, was the highest rated show on Legacy in that radio, even higher rated than this show, the flagship show. You know what I mean? And it was a big part. You were a big part of that. Why? That ended up, being part of the legacy of Legacy Internet Radio. So thank you, man. Thank you so much. I'm so proud of you. I see you on the screen. You listen to the show like still and comment and
Oh, of
participate.
course.
Like that's
Of course.
what family looks like. That's what, you know, putting your money where your mouth is all about. So in the limited time that we have with you today, obviously you've been listening and watching. You got some comments in the feed, and I
Yes.
told you to save it for your appearance. I didn't put your comments on the screen. Those folks who are watching the comment feed can see them. But the folks who are just driving around in their cars and listening, or even perhaps in the archive listening to this show in the future, may not have access to the comments that you put in
Yes, sir.
the feed, typing. So I want you to share with us just really quickly and concisely your thoughts in response to what has gone on with Coach Deion Prime Sanders as he leaves the HBCU and heads to the PWI. What's your thoughts,
Well,
bro?
one of the first things that I wanted to say was that the brother made a great point when he said that Deion should be commended for the things that he has done in Jackson and some of the challenges that he has faced. Like he said, limited water supplies, them boys having to take showers in the hotels, no adequate food supplies, as far as like as the standard PWI universities were have facilities were limited. He donated over $125,000 of his own salary to help upgrade the facilities. He had arrangements with Delta Airlines, which he got his own arrangements so he can make sure that when they flew on decent commercial planes. So those are the things that people don't see. But when you look at a person like me who was a coach, an aspiring coach, coaches leave all the time. What are you angry for? This man did what he's supposed to do. Like the young lady said, he had 3-year commitment. He stayed for 3 years. He's leaving. Now, I have a personal beef with Prime, just personal, because my former player of the year quarterback that I coached, Jalen Jones, which is from around here, Mike Jones' son, delegate for this area, he was at Jackson State when Deion got hired. And Deion kind of did the same thing to him that he's doing to the kid in Colorado. He showed up and said, "Hey, by the way, my son is here. You might as well want to hit the portal." And that's what happened to and that's that hurt me dear to my heart. So that's personal. But on a business side, I understand. But I'm going to give you quick stats because I'm a man of numbers. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Well, before Deion got there in 2018, their record was 5-5. In 2017, they were 3-8. When Deion took over in the COVID year, they were 5-5. Right, that was the COVID shortened season. When Deion had one full season in 2021, they went 11-1, and last year they were 12, or this year they were 12-0. So the numbers don't lie. The brother is brilliant, and he deserves to be elevated. So
yeah, he's going from Jackson State to Colorado, and Colorado was 1-11 last year. So if I'm the folks who, the athletic director and the folks who make decisions at Colorado, you know, I'm looking at somebody who's got a proven track record, who is coming here, and you know, we can play the semantics of the extra stuff that comes with it being Deion Sanders, and the extra stuff that comes with the black folks who have heat with him for leaving HBCU, go to PWI. I can dig all that. There's a place in the conversation in this debate for all of that. But if I'm Colorado, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get Deion Sanders up in here. You know what I mean? And I'm not sure that I got a problem with that, simply because you nailed it, Coach. When you say he had 3-year commitment, he did his 3 years, he moved on. You know, we have a lot of folks who want to wax poetic about how you've got this legendary brother who goes to an HBCU and he helped resurrect the program, and he made all of these great changes, and they're prominent now, and all of these great things. And we want you to stay here forever. We don't ever want you to leave.
Yeah.
And the minute that you do leave, we're
sellout.
gonna cast every aspersion on you. We're gonna call you every name in the book.
Right.
I love us. I love us, black folk. I'm
Right.
proud of us. I am us. I love us.
Right.
But I grow very frustrated, Coach. And you and I have had this conversation. I grow very frustrated with black folks trying to qualify other black folks' blackness. You mean to tell me because I fulfilled my obligation here and decide to move on, because I decide to move on to a school that you ain't cool with, that happens to be mostly white, I'm a sellout now?
Right.
Really?
And you know, the other point that I really want to make, that, and I think John can focus in on this one too. Do you know that? So it was a couple of weeks ago when Eddie Robinson Jr., the head coach of Alabama State, made the comment, you know, you're not SWAC. And so they made a whole meme about it, a music video about Coach Prime saying he's not SWAC. So also Coach Robinson went on, I think it was Instagram or Twitter, and said, I told y'all he wasn't SWAC, like as if to say, look, see, I told you he doesn't belong here. But if Coach Robinson had gotten that same call.
Exactly. So here's the thing. One, Coach Robinson's not getting that call. And definite. And just to piggyback on some of the stuff you said, it was a little over $150,000 of his own money that he did to update the facilities. At the same time, had his office broken into and was robbed. $1,000 worth of jewelry, phones, and stuff like that. And still stayed. And still gave the kid, had an operation on his foot, like, you know, like what's my man? James Amos in the Roots, right? Had his foot cut off.
I think you were referring to John Amos as Kunta Kinte.
Right, but I ain't want to go Kunta, but I'm saying he had his foot cut off and still hip hopped out there and did it all under all of this adversity for that institution. And yeah, he established relationships with the airlines. It's Delta or American. I think it was American. I'm not sure. Don't matter. But the kids were flying. He established relationship with folks to make sure that the kids had all the same blazers and slacks to wear, because they were traveling looking like ragtags. You know, some kids had on hoodies, some kids had on. He made sure they had suit jackets, slacks, shirts, and ties, so that when they travel, they represented this institution well.
And he put the names on back of the jerseys. That was a big deal. I didn't know.
He demanded it. He demanded it. They didn't want to do it. He demanded it be done. And he cut a deal with Armor All So they went through changes of uniform. They had
Under Armour,
options.
Under
Under Armour. What did I say?
Armor All.
Yeah, Under Armour. You know, he did all of that. And for people to even fix their mouths to say that he's a sellout, he didn't need the money because he can make twice as much money going on air as a commentator. He's doing what he loves, and he's influencing young people. He feels that's his calling, and people need to back off him. I thank you very much for your comments, Coach.
Correct.
Coach, we're going to get a final word from you before we hear from Steph and shift to our next guest. What is your final word? How can people rock with you? How can people support you? What you got going on, my brother?
Here we go. I'm a little bit of everywhere, and I kind of like it like that. You know, I am still considered one of the better realtors in the area. So that's what I do as my day job, but I also moonlight as probably one of the best PA announcers, as the new voice of Central Virginia sports is what I like to call myself. And I can be found on Facebook at Sean Mears or on my website at SeanMears.com. And, you know, I appreciate Legacy Internet Radio because they've given me a focus. And this is my final word. Everybody has a dream, but not everybody has a grind. And when you can dream small, but if your grind is big, then you're going to blow your dreams out of the water. And so I challenge everybody to do this. Grind big, think big, dream big.
My man, I got so much love for you, brother. You know how we used to hang out for a little while? We need to do that again soon. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, locked.
Yeah, we'll holler at you soon, brother. So much love for you. Peace to your family, and we'll talk soon, bro.
Thank you, sir. Love you guys.
It, man. You got it. Ain't no how Steppin Marcus J live from New Den Legacy and Radio. We see our next guest hanging out in the green room. in the green room, Steph. Jump in here with your comment real quick before we jump into our next guest.
No, I was just gonna say, you know, he makes a good point. When he points out Eddie Robinson Jr., who is just salty in my perspective, from my perspective. It's like it's one. It's like worrying about look what happened to Tavis Smiley and his behavior when Obama was elected. You know, we're just not able to be happy for one another in certain instances. This is an opportunity to say he will break ground. He will create a new environment. He will set some standards. He may fail. He may not be able to get them to a winning position. But you know what? He's getting an opportunity where a lot of people have not. And the fact that we are the same people who want to march and say we want equality and count up the numbers of how many black coaches are in the NCAA and NFL, and then get mad when somebody gets an opportunity. We eventually pick the struggle.
It be your own people.
It be your own.
Ain't no how Steppin Marcus J live from New Den Legacy Internet Radio. We got a couple of real quick hits from social media we're going to add, but you already see our next guest on the screen. I'm going to have her stand by for just a moment. Off the charisma, the dating pool diva, who I had an opportunity to spend some time with on Saturday during the Love Revolution that we have, is checking us out. She says, happy anniversary to all the Legacy Internet Radio crew. Our sister, the legal Tamika Robinson, says, hey family, happy anniversary. We're so happy to hear from her as well. Life is beautiful. And I love our next guest, who you see on the screen. She's special to me, right? Because she's my twin. Can't y'all tell how much we look alike? We grew up together in Jersey City, New Jersey, down the street from each other. And our birthdays are literally, no exaggeration, 2 days apart. We Geminis, we twins. She is my sister, my family. She is Legacy Internet Radio alumni. And she is DJ Renee Melendez.
Thank you for that warm welcome. How you doing?
That, right?
I love that.
I spent all day writing that. Or I ad-libbed it just now. One of those is true. What's up,
and
sis?
added the echo. I'm doing good. How are you?
We are good, man. It's so good to
Uh,
see your smiling face. How you been?
I'm doing well. I got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
Yeah, producing, DJing and producing now.
yeah,
I played in London in October. I played in Flash at this club called Flash in DC
yeah.
last month. I'm playing in New York Saturday. So I'm on the
Let's talk
move.
about this traveling, this world traveling that you are doing. London is
Hmm.
dope. London is real dope, but it's more for me. And my question to you about you getting an opportunity for the world to see how great you are. Like I know, you know, every time that you produced a Deep House Sessions with DJ Renee Melendez here on Legacy
Yeah.
on the Radio, I always would listen and I'd be like, man, our sister's dope. And it's one thing when you're close to a person. It's a completely different thing when that person takes their gift and their craft across the big pond and beyond. So let's talk about how you feel about being received. And we're gonna say it around the world because that kind of counts. Your dopeness is palpable. What you got?
I'm just me. I don't change. It still kind of weirds me out a little bit when I go places and people know who I am, but I don't know who they are because they've either, like I'm working for Quantize Recordings out of Baltimore, so they've seen me on something related to Quantize, or they've, checked me out one of my mixes on Mixcloud, or when I was on Legacy, if they followed me from when I was on Legacy, to move on to other things, it just kind of weirds me out, but I carry it all with grace and kindness, because I just appreciate anyone who continues to listen and follow me and embrace what I'm doing. So, I'm just me. I'm not changing. I'm still the same girl from Arlington Avenue, just trying to spread some love and some joy through music.
Yeah, yeah, I can dig it. I wanted you to join us as our one of our alumni reflections. So talk to us a little bit about your time with us here at Legacy Internet Radio and how that was for you and what it meant to you while you were with us.
Oh, it meant a lot for me. It really started a foundation for me to help me get to where I am now. It helped me push. It gave me some structure each week, being able to produce a show, and send it to you each week. So there was always fresh material, and it helped me really become more regimented in maintaining a schedule each week, which is something I hadn't been doing before. Because, when I started with Legacy and you brought me on, this was like producing a show was completely new to me. I went into it blind. Um, and so it helped me get to where I am. I'm forever indebted to you for allowing me to have that start with you. Always be a part of the family, from the time I started my show, when I stopped the show, and even now to just come on and chop it up with you guys. I do appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a trip, when you first started, you were still in New Jersey. And
Yeah.
I remember you traveled to Virginia on a trip, and we had an opportunity to have you in the den.
Yeah.
Talk to us about
Yeah.
that trip, man. I had so much fun having you there because you were a piece of home for me, and
Yeah.
being here for so long. You are obviously you're here now, you live here now, but at the time you didn't. And
Yeah.
so, talk to us a little bit about what it was like for you to travel and walk up in the den, a space that you was just sending tapes to. Now you get to be here.
And that was when you were up on Broad Street and
Well,
little
you came.
building.
Matter of fact, now that I think about it, you came twice because you came there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm remembering
Yeah.
now. You came
Yeah, I came
there
twice.
because we were on the website that we used to be on then,
Mm-hmm.
but you actually
Yeah.
came to us when we were in our South location. But same question. Talk to us about
Yeah.
how you got to come from up top down top. If
So
that
I
makes sense.
basically kind of coordinated. I was coming down here to see family at the time, and I hit you up, and I was like, "Hey, Marcus, I'm gonna be there." And you said to me, "So you think you could stay until Monday?" And I said, yeah. And it was a summer. If I want to, if my memory serves me correctly, it was summertime. So I'm like, yeah, I can stay. I'll just leave on Tuesday instead of leaving on Monday. And I came and I did the show with you, then. And then the second time I was on the show was after I had moved here.
Yeah.
And I came one Monday night. I got off of work early, and I came and was part of the show. And that had to be after 2019. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And now I live literally probably 5 to 10 minutes from you, because
Yeah.
you
I
know,
know.
yeah.
The world is small. Renee and I grew up literally, no exaggeration. There was one street in between us. And, she on that side of it, and I'm on this side of it. We, as young folks, and to be able to share this stage of life as middle-aged people versus young children, school-aged people, is a journey that I'm very proud of. I'm so happy to know you. I'm so happy to share family and kinship with you. It's really
Likewise.
cool for me to know that I got a piece of Jersey City right here in Richmond. I'm proud to have been here in the Cap for 30 years. 30 years in Richmond, Virginia. It's a lot of pride there. I ain't leaving unless something really drastic
Nah.
happens. I'm gonna die here. But
Mhm.
Jersey City is where I grew up, and that's where you and I began our journey. And that means something to me. And I appreciate you.
Well, as long as I'm breathing, you'll always have a little place of home, a little piece of home. 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
We can, and I do have to say, and I think we kind of both are a little at fault for this, but I've been here, you've been here, we both been busy, life was busy, COVID got in the way.
Yeah.
So we really haven't had a time to connect, outside of this,
Yeah.
where we could just sit and maybe break bread, have lunch, or have a cocktail or
Yeah.
two, and just chop it up and talk about old times, and what's on the horizon for both of us. So we need to make a point, because life is short.
Yeah.
I don't have I have a very small circle of friends. And when I say that, I mean that I could literally spin around in a circle, stick my arm straight out, spin around in a circle, and touch all the people that I consider to be a person that's close to me. And you are part of that circle,
Yeah.
because you have helped me not only just be a better person with some of our conversations and our exchanges on outlooks in life, but also with my music and my career, there, and also welcoming me here in Richmond. Because when I got here, yeah, I had family here, but I had no friends here but you. So I didn't know any like friends outside of my relatives other than you here. And
Yeah.
I would text you and say, where can I get this? Where can I get that? And you would message me back. So it helped me grow, and our relationship has helped me grow in so many ways that, you forever part of my heart, my family, it's my twin right there. He
Man.
got me beat by like you're the
Two
third, right?
days. Yeah. 2 days.
No, I'm the sixth. So
You
we
said
3
3
days
days.
apart.
Three
Yeah,
days.
3 days. He's
I've been
older than me
saying
by
3
three
days
days.
apart.
The
Yeah.
older sibling.
Yeah, I am. And as twins, don't we look alike, y'all? And have Steppin, Marcus J live from New Dan Legacy and that radio. Thank you, Renee. Thank you for
You're
being
very
my
welcome.
sister, our sister. Thank you for being a part of this. We're gonna let you go here, but you already know you got a home here. You got something going on. You gotta do is holler at your brother, and we're gonna put you on. Thank you.
All right. Sounds good. Talk to you guys later.
You got a good
Thank
night.
Bye-bye.
you.
Peace to
Good
you.
night.
Peace to you. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J live from New Dan Legacy and that radio. All right. So before we shift to our final special guest, I got a special guest that I got to shout out, which is a perfect segue into our special guest who's waiting again in the green room. But Ain't No Hashtag with Marcus J aired on December 4th, 2011 on Global Scale Radio. That was the name of the radio station that we were on. And the owner and founder and leader of that radio station was a brother by the name of Tim Casey. And Tim Casey is someone who we cannot tell our story without. And I got so much appreciation for this brother because he put us on. He was new. internet radio was new, and we all alpha male lions full of piss and vinegar and ready to just lock horns and just do this radio thing. It was new, it was fresh, and this man led us, and we couldn't tell our story without him being in the middle of it. So, Tim Casey, we know you are watching and listening. We appreciate you, man. The story of Ain't No Half Step on Marcus J is half told until we say your name. We appreciate you. Ain't No Half Step on Marcus J live from New Den, Legacy in that radio. I remember in the summer of 2011 when you, Tim Casey, and others, and this man right here, Jay Grizzly Green, who I refer to as the inspiration of Legacy in that radio.
Yeah. Am I on? Am I on?
Yeah, you on, man.
That's all I need to know. I'll take it from here. Marcus
What's
J, I'll
up,
let you.
cuz?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey,
yeah,
my
yeah,
cousin is over there.
yeah, yeah.
Steph B is over there.
We appreciate you too, Tim
What's up,
Casey. He
Chris?
appreciates us. We appreciate you, brother. We can't tell our story unless we say your name. So thank you. Grizz, what's up, man?
Hello, sir.
How you doing?
I'm highly blessed and highly favored. I'm happy to be here. I
Yeah.
understand that it's an anniversary day.
11 years ago to yesterday. So December 4th, 2011, you, me, Carlton Banks, and Tim Casey piled in a little room, and we did Ain't No Half Step with Marcus J. You remember that?
Yeah, I do. Um, who the fuck thought we would be here 11 years later?
Really not me. I
Right.
promise you, not me. I
I
promise you, not me.
mean,
I promise you, not me.
first of all, let me say for the Ain't No Half Stepping audience and the listeners that's within an earshot of my voice, Marcus J is not only my brother, but he a good brother. And there's a difference. Y'all see Herschel Walker out here wilding. You know what I mean? Mark, man, I cannot give you enough flowers before we reminisce about Ain't No Half Stepping and being 11 years in this podcast and the internet radio game without saying to you, man, you are a beacon. You it's just for the testimony of the cats that came on here before I have. Like I said, he not just my brother, he a good brother. And if y'all don't rock with him, I can't rock with you. But if you do, I'll rock with you. And that means we rolling.
Yeah,
Sir?
yeah, I appreciate you. Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J live from New Den, Legacy in the radio. Say hey to Steph, man.
Steph, I thought I spoke to her. Hey baby, what's happening?
Say hey to John, man.
Don't get great.
Cousin, what happening?
What up, cuzzo? How you feeling?
Blessed, man. I'm happy to be here. I
Always
cannot
good to
call
see
it.
you, cousin.
I wanted to speak on which I said it in the chat on the live stream when you say, yo, Dion ain't even give him a chance to hit him with the counter offer.
No, they didn't do it. They had plenty of opportunity. These negotiations have been going on for the last 6 months. They did not present him with a counter offer of any kind.
Oh, that's fine. You can't bite the hand that feeds you, and you can't shit on the hand that calls you to eat to shit. So at the I mean, there's a
Strangely,
long
that
story.
made perfect sense.
Yeah, right.
Strangely,
But my
that made
point,
perfect sense.
Glad that I
You got it,
understood
didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I got
sad
it too, but
understood.
it was weird. But we understand you,
But
bro.
go ahead.
Keep on
yeah,
going.
my point is to what John was saying was okay, he moving on. Let's give him an opportunity. It took a Barack Obama. It took a Martin Luther King. It took a Frederick Douglass. It took a Booker T. Washington, as much as I didn't agree. It took a Carter G. Woodson. It took somebody that looked like us to say, let me try and move the dial. You know what I'm saying? What now? Of course, I use Booker T and Carter G for an example. Of course, there was cats in the field that was out there under that sun that was like, "This some bullshit. I don't want to learn shit. I want to kill that motherfucker that's got me out here working in the sun, and he having sex with my woman." To
You
be
know,
fair, Mark.
you do realize that while I have relaxed the language on the show,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm
I'm sorry.
usually the one
Oh my
that
bad.
uses the F word, and out of pure irony, but I guess it's not irony because it's your ass. I haven't used it yet.
He's
Yet
taking them all up.
you've
No.
used it about 4 fucking times.
Yo, I'm slow down because you called me out, and and this is an anniversary show. Ain't no half stepping is a brand. Ain't
Only
no
because I
half
love
stepping.
this man. Only
Yeah,
because I love this man.
ain't no half stepping is a brand. Ain't no half stepping
Yeah,
with
man.
Marcus J is a beacon, and so I'll dial it down a
You know,
second.
yeah, look, you know I'm just fucking with you, right?
I know you is,
Okay,
but
cool.
at the same time, I'll give it to your audience and to your peoples, our peoples like this. Like there was always somebody that was like, "Nah, I'm not rocking with that." But how else are we going to move our people forward? We don't know what Dion could do at that place. If he do the same thing that he did at JSU, I'm good. I'm all right with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm all right with that because he's opening the doors. And so my thing is we've always had somebody that opened the door. And what you do, Mark J, what your show do is open doors, and people don't realize it ain't that easy.
No, no. I appreciate that, man. That comes from a level of sincerity with you. I know you wouldn't say it unless you meant it. So thank you, man. Thank you. So listen,
Yes,
I'm gonna shift us
as
because
I
I want to get your thoughts on one more topic before John and Steph and me finalize that topic and move on towards the close of the show. But the question that I'm going to ask you is about a clip that I'm about to play, and uh, technology be a whole challenge. So I'm not entirely sure how this
I'll
next
call, look.
season gonna go.
I'll stream back in if you lose me,
No,
bro.
I'm not gonna lose you, but I'm gonna wonder if you can hear. But
All right.
anyway, I'm gonna pot us all down. It's about a 3-minute clip. I want us all to listen. I want your reflection first,
Okay.
then we're gonna let you go,
Okay.
and then John and I and Steph are gonna finalize the show. Take a listen.
President Donald Trump is in your news feeds this morning for suggesting parts of the U.S. Constitution should be terminated. And that puts some Republicans in the hot seat for failing to condemn that remark. Robert Costa is in Washington with this story for us. Bob, good morning.
Good morning, Tony. The former president's post comes as the Republican Party is still dealing with the fallout from that dinner Trump had with white nationalist Nick Fuentes and the rapper formerly known as Kanye West, who has continually made anti-Semitic comments. That dinner and Trump's post present a reckoning for his party about its future.
It's the oath of office every president takes.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the United States.
But former President Trump is now taking aim at this founding document. A post from Trump suggesting the possible termination of parts of the Constitution and a redo of the 2020 election drew sharp condemnation from Democrats, calling him out of control and dangerous. Some Republicans also critical.
I certainly don't endorse that language or that sentiment.
But any political cost for Trump remains unclear, as others are taking a wait-and-see approach.
I will support whoever the Republican nominee is. And he'll be able to get there.
Trump has kept up the steady drumbeat of false statements about the 2020 election, long after his own officials told him it was not stolen.
I made it clear I did not agree with the idea of saying the election was stolen.
Trump's latest comments were in response to a report by journalist Matt Taibbi that showed Twitter employees deliberating in October 2020 about how to handle a New York Post article about a laptop belonging to Hunter Biden, President Biden's son. Taibbi also reported both the Biden campaign and the Trump White House communicated with Twitter about content. This all comes as Trump faces multiple federal and state investigations, and as the House's January 6th committee prepares to issue a sweeping report that will shine a light on Trump's conduct during the attack on the Capitol.
But this report could be the basis, in your view, for prosecution.
I think that it could be. Donald Trump was a guy who just would not take no for an answer from the American people and set about to overthrow an election.
Speaking to Republican sources, it's clear that many of Trump's possible 2024 rivals are now remaining quiet, wondering if Trump's campaign will fizzle out or if he will face legal headaches that could derail him. But as we saw 6 years ago, that hope among some Republicans that Trump will fade away is often dashed. Tony?
Yeah, the American people will decide. Bob, thank you very much.
Ain't no half step and Marcus J live from New Dan Legacy Net Radio. A lot to respond there, Chris, but ultimately the piece that I want to get your reflection on before we let you go is the part about how we got smoked and we want to terminate the United States Constitution, and how at least one elected Republican official has decided that he is going to rock with whoever comes out of the Republican Party. I mean, he did make it plain that he ain't gonna rock with Trump, but he said he gonna rock with whoever comes out of the Republican Party. You go wherever you want to go. Be real brief before we let you go in your sentiments on this topic. What you got?
Well, thank you, Mark. Again, wow. If you don't know where you stand in this country and you don't look like you are Caucasian, this is all you need to know where you stand. As a history, I didn't graduate. I went to school, like they say. I'm not a doctor, but I did stay in a Holiday Inn. So take this for what it's worth. I was a history major, and just because you're not in higher institutions don't mean you stop learning. If you do not pay attention and learn from your past, you're doomed to repeat it. And I've said I think one time when we had Ain't No Half Steppin', and I referenced the Richmond Planet and the publisher of the Richmond Planet, who was one of the first Black men to ever run for governor in the state of Virginia in the late 1890s, I want to say. This ain't nothing new, y'all. They coming for everything that they think is theirs, and nothing is off the table. So you think that, and when I say, and I don't do pronouns, Mark, I don't know if I said this earlier, and you can write me up whenever you're ready, sir, but you are my tag team championship partner, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
You know, based on that,
I never hear Grizz say sweet
if we keep with that analogy, right, you do realize I'm Sean and you Marty, right?
No,
of course, that I do know.
Rocky and Tony, which one of y'all? Tony, Rocky.
I would be Rocky. I would be Tony. He would be Rocky. Okay. He would put out the rock. I'm just here for the shine, baby. I'm just here for the shine.
I'm trying to have some fun. Hey,
Wrestling.
I'm gonna be Brett. You'll be
Roanoke,
Jim.
Virginia.
Exactly. So, and I'll wrap this up, and then I'll pass along, and then I'll get into me. I hope you get to me for a second. Yes, but no, people need to pay attention to what's going down. 120, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, the same moment in American history is going down. The only difference was we put Barack Obama as president of the United States. The equivalent to white folk that don't like people that look like you was the Civil War and the 13th Amendment. They didn't want you to be free. And in Florida, it's still legit. They do not want you to have rights, LGBTQIA. They do not want even you to be seen. When I say they, I'm talking about the power, European power structure that's used to shit being the way they want it to be. And because just evolution, shout out to my homeboy Rube, right? Because of evolution and the way things work, we get it in more than you. So we kind of, diluted a little bit. Anyway, to make a long story short, they are not going to give this up. And you have to pay attention. They will use a Herschel Walker. They will use exactly the clips, the Supreme Court. They will use whatever it is that's needed to be done to keep you under the guise of something. And in that vein, I'm gonna stop trying to sound like I'm smart and let Mark have his show back.
Ain't no have Steppin Marcus J live from New Den, Legacy Net Radio, wise choice. So let's talk about who you is and
Mhm.
where we can find you going forward. Because we know that you can't stop, won't stop, can't stop, won't stop. You cooler than Puffy. So what you got going on, man? Because I know you're doing
Hey,
something.
thank you so much, Mark. Well, you can find me on all social media outlets as under the following: Jay Grizzo on Instagram, Jay Green on Facebook, and this new venture that I'm fitting to come up with that, to be fair, I would not have been able to do it without the help of the guy that's hosting and running this thing, without the inspiration of this guy who hosts and run this thing, Marcus J. A new podcast will be jumping off very, 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 very soon, called Taking Those Shorts Podcast, will be available on all streaming platforms. I've already passed the invitation to Mark, Cousin John, and Steph B to come, please, please, please come through. This is not just this is a effing experience. And I will just leave it at that and hope that all the intelligent Americans that are listening to Marcus's Jay's podcast representing Legacy Internet Radio will port on over when I drop my podcast, and you will get the R in the X version of Marcus J. Uncut.
Yeah.
On Taking Those Shorts podcast.
Yeah.
I love you, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for inviting me to celebrate with you. Thank you so much for continuing. I saw Sean on here. He wanted to read you a whole goddamn poem, didn't he?
He put me over, man.
He put you over big time. I said, God damn, hurry up, boy. No, seriously though. Seriously though. Shout out to you, Sean. Seriously though. I appreciate you for taking the opportunities that was brought upon you and keeping it going, because in a weird way, it inspires people you don't even know. And I'm sure you know that, but I just wanted you to hear out of my drunk and smoked out my G.
My G. Love you, brother. I love you, man.
Love you too. Appreciate y'all,
love
man.
you, Cuzzo.
All right, appreciate y'all. Y'all, hey, we're gonna holler. I'm gonna hit y'all back right. So I don't know when y'all gonna wrap up, but I'm gonna be here for the rest of the show. Love. Hey, inspire somebody. Inspire somebody.
Yeah, inspire somebody. We love you, bro. Ain't no ass Steppin Marcus J live from New Den, Legacy Internet Radio. It's just so much more fun when he's around. It just is what it is. Ain't no ass Steppin Marcus J live from New Den of Legacy Internet Radio. All right, so brief, limited time, John. You up first. We let it off. We made the piece about the former president wanting to cancel the Constitution. We're not going to spend a lot of time because we're getting towards the end of our time. And so you'll say your piece, Steph say your piece. I'm gonna take us home after that. What you got?
Fuck Trump. Fuck anybody that supports his political aspirations. He's a moron. He's a racist, and he's generally not a very good human being. Of course, he wants to eliminate parts of the Constitution. Almost every blue-blooded white man in this country wants to eliminate parts of the Constitution. They won't come out and say it though, because they not like Trump and Kanye. They reserve their right to remain stupid in silence. So they won't say idiotic shit. But Trump will, because he knows as a white man, he got the complexion for the protection. So he will say stupid shit and don't care. And yeah, if he's in the running, he will probably get nominated. He'll probably win in 2024. And all these shit talking Republicans will jump back on his back and ride that horse to their tax cuts and they no big contracts. So just fuck all of them, because it's like this. You and I were speaking a little bit earlier. I've drawn my line in the sand, and I'm not going past it. People who believe in the white ideology of taking shit that ain't yours, putting your name on shit just because ain't no other name on it, and saying it's yours. That whole ideology, anybody who supports that, fuck y'all too. Right? No white man did anything positive in this country ever. Right? If you got a problem with what I just said, prove me wrong. Because you can believe all
too
that.
Easy, but okay.
You can believe. Listen,
that's way too easy.
All right,
I got you.
But listen,
I get the point
we
you're
can
trying
believe.
to make.
No, we can believe. We can believe. Of course it does.
Of
you know
course
why?
It does.
Because
it's true.
Because
it is crazy.
No.
I mean, I get the grand pronouncement
ain't no
and statements,
grand,
but that's just a crazy statement.
It's not no grand statement.
It is.
Let me tell you why.
Ain't no white man ever did nothing great in this country. Really?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Because anytime we learn about anything that a white person done, we learn it from another white person telling the story, and we never get the whole fucking story ever.
That's just
It's
toxic
listen,
pro-blackness.
No, it's not. Listen. No. Listen to me.
That's what that is. That's toxic pro-blackness.
No, listen.
It is.
You can't take filet mignon and put it on a pile of shit and ask somebody
analogy
to eat it.
That doesn't apply.
It absolutely applies.
Toxic pro-blackness.
No, it's not.
With an analogy that doesn't apply.
No,
ain't no white man ever did nothing great ever in this country ever. Never. Okay. Too easy. I'm not going to argue.
And I'm going to tell you why. Because every white man in this country adopts the ideology that this country is a great place. That
plenty of black people feel that way too.
Well, listen. Don't listen. That is institutionalized brainwashing, and that's what's fed into people.
But
you get your education
when you leaving.
No.
When you leaving.
It ain't about leaving.
When you leaving.
The less
if it's so bad here when you leave.
It ain't about being see. There you go. That's the false narrative.
It ain't no false narrative. It's a question that I'm asking you.
No, listen. That's a false narrative, because that's the low hanging fruit. It ain't about leaving.
So snatch it and answer the question.
Listen, it ain't about leaving. It ain't about going someplace else. It's about acknowledging and recognizing what I'm saying.
We do that regularly.
This whole experiment is based on the idea that a few, right, will control the masses based on the lie that they told the white people who suffer under racism the same way black people do, because they feed into the lie.
We can tell that story without casting that aspersion.
Yeah, but listen. Okay, here's the problem. We can't cast the aspersion, right? Again, like I was telling you earlier, why we always got to be greater than? Why we always got to do better? Why we always got to believe in that bullshit? We acquiesce to subjugation with that. We got to be better than them. When they go low, we go high. We got to work 3 times as hard to get half as far. Fuck all of that, right? Call them out on their shit on the face of it. And don't be eloquent about it. And don't try to shape it and spin it into something nice. It ain't nothing nice. When they got here, they found black people here. That was the whole idea of them going to Africa, to get more to come over here. And all they ever did was kill, rape, and pillage. And the one time when black people and white people decided to get together and say, y'all fucking with us, they fucked that up, killed a bunch of black people and told white people, listen, don't worry about it. Y'all be all right because y'all ain't black. We going to keep our foot in these black people ass and y'all be all right. And they ain't never been all right since then. And everything that's happened since then in this country is a product of that shit. It is a product of that shit. You can't plant an apple tree and then tell me it's growing fucking bananas, right? The tree that was planted here in the 1500s is a shit tree, and it's been growing shit ever since. And it was a white man that did it, right? And all the white men who follow, who again pump the narrative. These people support Israel. If 4 million black people who survived the genocide of Cecil J. Rose and De Beers said, we gonna run into Egypt and kick all these pale dudes out because we darker than them, and we gonna claim this our homeland because God says so. You think the white world would support that?
Of course not.
All right, but they did it in Israel with nothing. They had nothing of merit, proof, or anything but the idea that we white, these people ain't white. We gonna take over their shit and fuck them, right? And every white, and when I say every, listen, if it's a small enough number that you got to pick out less than 10%, the exception proves the rule. Most white people in this country believe in that shit for Australia, for here, for Israel, for every idea of colonization, and they promote it because they believe because they're white, they have privileges that other people don't have because they're better than. That's racism. That's white supremacy.
No argument.
And here goes the shit.
No argument.
It ain't their fault because most of white people don't own shit or control shit. They just bought into the bullshit.
Less than 10% own slaves.
Right.
Less than 10%.
Listen, and the whole arc of the slavery is bullshit the way they teach it. At the same time, we never discussed that for the first 50 to 100 years, most of the slaves was white. In this landmass, we don't even talk about that. They didn't incorporate, and black slaves didn't become more after the first rebellions, when it evened out, when they made the whites overseers and the black slaves, when the idea of you were a slave just because you were black, even if you never was in the southern plantation, you was in the north and you came over here from another country with your name and your property, if you crossed the Mason-Dixon, your ass was getting in chains.
Coach says touchy subject. I want to know why it's touchy. It's touchy.
It's touchy
why
because
is it touchy? I don't think it's touchy.
I'm gonna tell you why it's touchy. Because black people, like I always say, is not willing to give up their white Jesus. They still want that white man to be their God.
I agree on
right?
that. This is where we agree.
And that mindset,
this is the middle ground.
The ideology, again, if they go low, we go high. You got to work harder. You got to be better. I expect more. Go back to damn Prime.
Go back to Prime.
They expect of this man, because he's black, he's got to do some shit against his interests. He's got to do something that he doesn't feel is his calling. He got to stay someplace where they robbed him after he spent his own money to help the institution, and where they didn't even make him a counter offer, and he's the problem.
Grizzy says cousin John ain't lying. Indentured servitude.
Yeah, and black people need to sharpen up their minds and understand that we are fighting the battle. Listen, as much as I talk about racism and white supremacy, it's bullshit. Because it's a mindset. The minute you get your mind out of that shit, it's gone.
Yeah.
The problem is white and black people have their mind locked into it, and you can't get them out of it.
Ain't no how Steppin, Marcus J live from New Day and Legacy and that radio. We're getting some salutations, some anniversary salutations from one of our own favorite people who we share. And we know her by the name of Cooler.
Your favorite MC's MC's favorite MC.
But the last comment before I turn it over to you, Steph, and then we shift to the final stage of the show, comes from my mentor, my leader, the person that I look to, my moral compass, my father.
Oh.
Pops is checking us
Pops
out.
J.
Yeah, I talked to him earlier. Always get a Jew. This is my dude right here, man. Pops called in. Well, Pops checked in. He's saying happy anniversary, son, and your partners.
Aw.
Love the show, and I love you guys. Thank you, Pops.
Thanks, Pop J.
Man.
And happy belated anniversary to them. I know they just
Yeah, it's 50 years, man. He married 50 years. Lord, have mercy, man.
and didn't mom have a birthday?
Mom had a birthday
Yes,
last week.
Yeah.
Mom had a birthday last week, and they have been married for 50 years
Woo.
earlier this year. And just to put that into perspective, I'm not quite 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just
did it the right way. The old school way.
I'm
You ain't JJ, huh?
I'm trying real hard not to say nothing crazy right now. Y'all see,
you
yeah.
know what?
50
You
years,
show up in Jersey City and they pop you.
Yeah,
You gonna
I'm
deserve
gonna be in trouble because I know you're listening, sitting next to each
Yeah.
other. But I love y'all, and this is my way of showing and sharing that. So thank you for being my first supporters, moms and pops. They have moms had joined us on the show. We did a show. We talked about the late 60s, and we talked about the assassination of President Kennedy, and we talked about Malcolm versus Martin, and we talked about her participation in the March on Washington on air on the show in the early years of Aint Hashtag with Marcus J. And Pops brought Mom here to Richmond, and we had them in studio at Legacy TV. So Moms and Pops have been a part of this, have been supporters of this from the very, very beginning. So obviously there's no me without y'all, but the fact that y'all have shown an interest in what we're doing here firsthand, not me, but we are doing here firsthand, means a lot to me. Obviously, it means a lot to John and our sister Steph. So, moms and pops, man, I love y'all. Obviously, y'all are the best. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J live from New Den Legacy and that radio. Cooler says, hey, pops. Yeah. Let's see. Grizzy says, shout out to Marcus J's pops. And our brother Kevin Harris says, happy anniversary, my brother Marcus J. He's checking out WWE as he speak. Bruh, you watching Raw. I'm at work right now. I can't watch Raw. But I know that WWE was in Petersburg last night.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
I saw.
I ain't never gonna be far from wrestling. And last piece on Pops, right? And there ain't never gonna be no last piece on Pops. I talk about this dude forever. Like 50 a million forevers. But Pops used to take me. And I remember he took me to two wrestling. Thank you, Kevin, for giving me the opportunity to talk about this, right? Pops took me to the Brendan Byrne Arena in the Meadowlands. We don't even call it that anymore.
Yeah, that's a throwback.
That's a throwback in the mid to late 80s. And I got to see Hulk Hogan there. But I'll never forget, Pops took me to Madison Square Garden to see pro wrestling, where I got to see the WWF champion Hulk Hogan wrestle against the Ugandan headhunter Kamala.
Ugandan giant.
The Ugandan giant
Kamala.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Rest in peace. James Harris.
James Harris. Rest in peace to James Harris. We lost him, I think, 2 years ago.
Right when was
COVID.
when was Biden and Kamala Harris running?
In 2019 and 20.
That's when we lost him because they kept calling her Kamala instead of Kamala.
There you go.
And that was a big deal. Because they both got the last name Harris.
It's crazy that you remember that. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J. But yes. And like I said, any opportunity to wax poetic on my origin, it's always a good thing. All right. So Coach says, respect again. Much continued success, my brother. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J live from New Den Legacy and Radio. Steph, take the last word on topic before we shut it down.
I think it just boils down to significant hypocrisy in politics. Yes, we could easily say, oh, it's on both sides. No. I have watched this be so repetitive. I think there's almost a party that wants to try to be so good, and there's one that just doesn't care. And the fact that they're not speaking up about this. The interesting thing is, every few years, you know, a big thing will come up and Black people will talk about the Constitution and how it doesn't reflect the need to take care or to acknowledge the Black citizenship. And when that's talked about, immediately people say, leave the Constitution alone. It's a sacred document, so on and so forth. This man has literally said, throw it out, and no one has anything to say. You know, and it's been reflective consistently that when the Black constituency of America says something that has validity, we don't want to talk about it. Everybody's shamed into, well, if you don't like it, just leave here. Now he's speaking about it. He is acknowledging that he's basically saying throw it out, but not in the sense that it's about any of us. It's only about him. And they will continue to elect and support a man that could care less about the country or the people in it. They get what they deserve when he's their candidate.
You got it. Ain't no ask that Marcus J live from Newden Legacy Internet Radio. Tonight is December 5th, 2022. It's a Monday. And the time on the clock is 9:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And tonight we celebrate 11 years of doing this show. And there's just so many people who I could call out. I'm not going to do that because the minute that I don't say a name, there's going to be smoke. And I don't want to smoke. I usually be wanting to smoke. I don't want to smoke. But there are some names that I would be irresponsible if I did not mention. So I'm going to call those names out. I'm going to thank those people. And everybody else, just know that we couldn't do this without y'all. So the names that I'll name first and foremost is our brother Tim Casey, who put us on. Our brother Jay Grizzy, who's the inspiration. Our brother Carlton Banks, who's the liaison between me and Jay Grizzy. My brother Big Rube, who is my co-founder at Legacy Internet Radio. My sister Tony, who is one of my favorite people in the world, and as a friend of mine, she joined me and us in doing radio. Author Charisma, the dating pool diva, who partnered with us with the Love Revolution and our communication around relationships. Comedian S. Lissa P., First Lady of Legacy Internet Radio. The original 7 folks who made up Legacy Internet Radio, and they know how to stay with Marcus J. I'm very happy and very proud to be in community with you guys. I'm going to read a comment. I'm going to get through the next stage. Our brother Tim Casey is saying, before I go through all of our early trials and tribulations, I always believed in your talent. I'm proud to be a small part of your story. I'm very happy that you continued on and expanded on what was created so many years ago. I wish you continued success. Much love, my brother. Much love to you too, my brother. You know, it's funny, Tim and I, you know, went through just being alpha males and locking horns and all of the things. But, you know, as we've gotten older and moved towards a stage in life, we've learned, Steph, John, I'm sure you have learned. I'd love to hear your comments on this when we get to, I guess we're at the end. So let's get to that. But reflection is a curious thing because it causes you to reflect on things in a manner that maybe you hadn't before, different lens. You know, hindsight, what they say is 2020, Monday morning quarterback, and all of those types of things. But the fact that I get to do this now after all of this time and waxing poetic on the 11 years and all of the other people, the last 2 years doing it with you guys, with John and with Steph, I've been very clear, and I'll be very clear. This is the best combination we've ever had. And that's not just because they're here now. We haven't had this kind of extension for as long. I haven't had two co-hosts for what have we been? We're going on almost 3 years now. We're going almost 3 years. I have not had two co-hosts for 3 years. Haven't till now. And you guys are dedicated. You guys are brilliant. You guys are funny. You guys love each other and y'all love me. And I know that when the time comes for us to retire the show, nothing goes on forever. Everything has its course in life. I got a lifelong brother in John, not just because of how we're brothers, but because of how we're brothers. People just mad forever, man. That's what it is. And Steph is my sister, man. I never ever forget a conversation that we had, and I won't get too deep into the details. That's our shit. But I remember when we had a conversation outside of the original den, and very, very briefly into the conversation, I think we both kind of knew there was a reason that we found ourselves in that conversation. And it was going very well. And the fact that we have been able to sustain this relationship as a 2 and as a 3 for this long and beyond is an honor for me. I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all. And I'm going to move on because I'm feeling really, really emotional. And you know, I have Steppin Marcus J live from New Dan Legacy Net Radio. Yes, Diva, the original 7. All right, moment in Black history. Today, December 5th, 1960, in Boyden versus Virginia, the United States Supreme Court rules that racial segregation in interstate bus terminal restaurants is unconstitutional. So let me get this straight. Y'all was so petty, I couldn't hold my girl's hand at the bus just because she white or because I'm black. Like, really? Read these things every single night, every single Monday night that we do this, because I want to remind everybody the shit that they put us through, the stuff they put us through. 2000 and no 2000s this week. Let me see. 1977, a newspaper report this week that Cornell and Geraldine Cook, the only black couple in a white neighborhood in Smithfield, North Carolina, planned to leave after shots fired into their home. I mean, like, I was alive. Steph was alive. And so was John. 1977. We were alive. John was in college. I know he wasn't. That's
John
too
was
easy.
macking
I'm
in
sorry.
Brooklyn.
I'm sorry. He wasn't in college.
Macking.
I'm sorry. He wasn't in college.
Fourth grade. Miss Feta.
Miss Feta in the
PS
fourth grade.
138.
What was that? PS 138?
And the fact that I tried to clown and he came with a real
He knew
story
the real
is a
stuff.
testament to his gangster, my brother.
Yeah.
My brother. I'm gonna leave it right there. Ain't no ask Steppin Marcus J live.
Well, we got to get one more.
You want to do one more?
1969, December 4th.
You know who was born on that? I know who was born on that day.
Nah.
You're not doing it. Oh, you
died,
talking about
who was
Fred
murdered,
Hampton?
Yeah.
You talking about Fred Hampton?
Who was murdered?
I thought you were going to say.
And the other brother too. It was 2 of them that got murdered in that.
Fred Hampton and his homie in the apartment in Chicago.
Shot him while he was in bed, sleeping.
In the bed. Here I am about to shout out Jay-Z on his birthday.
Yeah, that too.
That too.
that too.
Come on now.
That too.
That too.
But shout out to B, because once I cleaned it up, I was like, oh, you talking about Fred Hampton. That's more important with respect to Sean Carter.
Well, just history, you know.
It
but
is history.
Sean Carter too.
Sean
He's part
Carter,
of history now.
we got
And we
Sean
got
Carter that
acknowledged
day,
it,
but
yeah.
Fred Hampton, you want to spell it out some more? You earned that.
No, we loved. The police went in with a hit.
Basically,
They knew what they wanted to do. They knew because of their inside informants where to find them, and they smoked him out. They went inside. They murdered him after he had been drugged in his sleep. And Yeah, there was never anything done about it. He was a young man. He had some good ideas. He had a little bit of misguidance in how he would apply those ideas, but he was a kid. A lot of times we forget about these kids. You know, Malcolm and Martin died in their 30s.
39, both of them.
They were young. They were young men. They still hadn't fully acknowledged their grasp on the world. They were still developing that. And that's what got them killed, because that's what the world was afraid of.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so we got to remember these. We can't never let these things go unsaid and unspoken.
Shout
I'm
out
sorry.
to our sister Tracy McLean. She was checking in. Sue says, I don't understand why so many people care about this man's job. So, wanted to get those final comments in. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J live from New Den Legacy Net Radio. At this time of the show, we always make sure that we keep our eyes peeled for missing and or exploited children. Tonight is no different. We're looking for Tiana Jackson. She's been missing since November 29th. This year, she's a 15-year-old black female missing from Henrico, the portion of Richmond. She's 5 foot, 130, black hair, brown eyes and red hair. She normally wears a black bonnet that covers her hair and earrings. Tiana Jackson, if you've seen her, please contact the National Center for Missing and or Exploited Children and website missingkids.org, or contact the Henrico County Police Department at 1-800-LOST, 1-800-843-5678. That's actually the missing children phone number. Henrico phone number is 804-501-5000. Sorry about that. We're also looking for Cameron Rollins. Cameron Rollins is a 13-year-old black male missing from Chesterfield County. He's 5'9", 134. He's got a birthmark on his left shoulder and wears an earring in his right ear. If we've seen Cameron Rawlings, please contact the National Center for Missing and or Exploited Children and website missingkids.org, or contact the Chesterfield County Police Department at 804-748-1251. So let's recap. Cameron Rollins and Tiana Jackson. If we've seen either of them, please contact the National Center for Missing and or Exploited Children at website missingkids.org, or contact them on the website. I already said that, missingkids.org, or the phone number 1-800-LOST, 1-800-843-5678. Thank you for your patience with me. Thank you for rocking. This is the time where we shift, we rant, we close. John, you have the con. And as I gave the flowers a few minutes ago, I'll give you one more leaf. Thank you, my brother, for presenting, showing up, being an alpha, standing firm, and just saying what needs to be said. We don't always agree, and that's okay. We use the analogy of iron sharpening iron. Can't imagine a better relationship to apply that analogy. Bro, rock the mic.
Thank you. And the first thing I want to say, and I've said this to you before, and I want the listeners to understand this, we don't ever really disagree. What happens is we have a different opinion in the delivery system, in the vehicle in which the message goes through. However, usually at the core of the message or the ideology that we're speaking on, we're in agreement, because we understand that everybody needs to do better. Bottom line, that's not discriminating against anybody. Everybody in this world needs to do better, because we could do better, because the world is suffering, because nobody chooses to do better. We understand that 1% of the world controls most of the world, 90% of its resources, and the rest of us fight over that 10% that's left over. And they only leave that for us to fight over to keep us not thinking about the fact that they got control over the other 90%. And somebody said, if you want to get somebody off your back, stand up straight. and that's and for I don't know why we won't do it, and that's just based on what you just said. And thank you for that, for those flowers, Marcus. You know how I feel about you and this show and everything. It entitles. I want to give a shout out to our brother Steven Sykes for his technical expertise and allowing us, helping to allow that we go on each Monday night that we go on. He played a monumentous role in that. He's also very much a networker in bringing people into the fold of the nucleus of Richmond. There's a lot of people in Richmond who group together, and he's a big influence on that. Just shout out to you, bro, Steve. Big Bo Joe, shout him out. Apple Brown Betty, want to shout her out. Anybody that I missed, I'm sorry, but I want to shout all of y'all out because I moved to this town about 5 years ago now, and there were about 7 shows, and they were quality, and I enjoyed them all. And like I said, the people who I missed out, I apologize if I missed out on you, but I'm speaking about people who I got to meet, interact with, and do shows with. That's who I know. Thank you on behalf of Legacy and Legacy and that radio, and Ain't No Half Step with Marcus J. Now for my rant. As an institution, country, corporation, whatever you want to call it, United States of America will ultimately fail without reform. We have to reform our political process. We have to reform our educational process. And we have to reform our criminal justice process, including policing. We cannot defund or destroy the police or do without police, but the police got to do a better job. We got to train them better. We got to change the mental. And we can't just get rid of them all. We just got to push them out. We got to get a new crop in and start pushing the old crop out and change the mentality. Cars used to get 8 miles to the gallon. Now you can't really find a car that don't get at least 20 on the highway. Right? Just move. And that's in my lifetime. So we can move out the idea of, because now with social media, every day I see a new video of some cop just really manhandling, bulldogging, and bullying somebody without anything even closely resembling the law. And God forbid if that person happens to know a little bit of law, even if it's jailhouse law bullshit, he or she might get hit upside the head for the idea that you can speak back to a cop, that you can speak back to your employee. And that's the shit that people don't even understand. These the employees talking to the employers like, don't you talk back to me. I'm in charge of you. I run you. You don't know how many videos I saw. The person said, well, why? Because I said so. Do what I say now or else. That shouldn't be, give him desk duty. And that's your immediate fine. Take his gun, take his bag. You cannot be a cop no place else again. And even if you apply, we'll put you in jail. That's what that should be. We need term limits in Congress. We need term limits in the Supreme Court. If there's a person too young to run for presidency, there should be a person that's too old to run. I'm sorry. I'm not against anybody. But there's an age that's too young for a reason. That same logic must apply to too old. Real simple shit. This ain't difficult. Why do we need the IRS right now? They serve no purpose. We have a computer system, bar none. That's the vastest computer system in the world, simply by the nature of our country being how it is. In other parts of the world that may have more people in it, they're just not technically as advanced as us. Even though you would think that China and India because they got all the, nah. We bigger, better, stronger. Just because we got more money and a bigger military. It just goes that way, right? The fact that people can't know with certainty, right, how much money's coming out of their check each week. Every corporation should know immediately, based on their profit margin, how much money they got to pay without having to go with loopholes and deductions and this, that, and I don't know what the IRS budget is, but we could use that for some other shit because it all could be computerized and simple. I would love if they changed it and made it a flat tax, but they could even keep it the way it is. People do online tax returns every day now. We don't need no IRS. Just have the money come out and go. And transparency. The government don't do nothing with your tax dollars. The government make money off of selling weapons and oil. We're the largest producing oil nation in the world, and we sell oil. We make money off of that. And we sell weapons in war and rebuilding, and we make tons of money off of that. That's how we make money. The taxpayers' dollars goes into slush funds and keeps the politicians' pockets done and keeps their apartment and $170,000 a year salary paid, their apartment in DC paid for, their staff paid, right? Where they only got to be at work 6 months out of the year and could call in sick when they want to, and got the best healthcare plan the planet's ever seen. To do what? To wait to get more money from their donors to vote against our best interests. Watch Distinguished Gentlemen when you get a chance to understand what goes on in the body politic in your tax dollars, right? Know what's going on with that. This country needs reform. Why do I need to see somebody's face in court? Why do I need to know he's black? Why do I need to know he's white? Why do I need to know he or she is rich or poor? I don't need to know that. I need a docket number. I need the law that they were accused of breaking, and I need to see what the district attorney has to say why they're guilty and what their defense attorney has to say why they're innocent. And if the district attorney cannot prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that they're guilty, then the defense attorney shouldn't even have to speak. And everybody should have unlimited access to the law. Everything's computerized, microfiche. I used to do that in the 80s. Take microfilm pictures of documents to load them into the computer so that we have the internet now that you could Google some shit and pull it up. Right? So every single law that's applicable to every single case should be made available to every single person who is accused of a crime, not based on how much money they can afford to pay a lawyer. That's insane, because poor people walk away from shit they did all the time. And I mean, rich people walk away from shit that they actually did all the time, and poor people go to jail for shit they didn't do all the time, based on how much money they could pay a lawyer to manipulate and spin the law, how much stuff you could bring into court. And there should be no judge sitting on a bench anywhere with an investment in a prison. What the hell is that, y'all? Judges who have investments in prison deciding on who does and does not go to prison. Y'all don't see the conflict there? That's good to y'all. That's okay to y'all. We're not going to survive this. We'll crash. We'll rebuild, because this ain't nothing but the Holy Roman Empire revisited. Nothing has changed, really, but the name and the location. So we'll fall. We'll have a crash like the Great Depression or some other catastrophe. We might get hit by a meteor next week or some other shit. But we'll rebuild, and sure enough, people will come along with the same fairy tale stories about white men moving rocks and coming out the grave when they dead, right? About how black people are going to rape your women, how Mexicans are going to take your jobs, right? While everybody poor, but the one telling the story. We need reform. We need change. Otherwise, it's going down. And I don't know if I'm going to be alive to see it, but it's going to happen.
Ain't no hashtag Marcus J live from New Den. Legacy in that radio, John. Thank you for your pros. Steph, you up, man. You ready to rock the mic?
You know, I'm gonna keep it simple.
You want to keep it simple?
Yeah,
Well, before
yeah.
you keep
John,
it simple,
John told us what we needed to know.
before
I'ma
you
keep
keep it simple, I'm about to say some mushy shit.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I'm just happy, man. I'm happy. You know, this time of year, anniversary time, I always get happy because this is the time where we get to celebrate. Like anniversaries and birthdays are always cool.
I mean, you getting so much. You made my man move over here.
Yeah, yeah. He's something else, man. You know, John is the universal big bro. You know,
That's a good way to say it.
he carries that energy wherever he goes. Cats his own age be feeling it. You know, like he told me a long time ago. He may or may not remember. He's I don't call you that. Like, bro, that's who you is. To me, it's who you is. But anyway, Steph, appreciate you, man, because you just got this calm. You got to calm. You got to calm. Certainly tonight, you got calm, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the way you hold us down, the way you balance us. You know, we are pretty alpha, John and I, and you know when we start locking horns, you know, you have a way of just when you say it, we both just kind of shut up and listen to you and speak what you gonna speak. And it's a good thing because what you got to say is more important than us battling on whatever we're battling on. So I appreciate you and just thank you, just sincerely for choosing me and choosing us and choosing this. You could be anywhere right now. You choosing to be here with us. And that's a blessing for me. And I can speak for John, for him too. I'm thankful. I still like doing this. And when I don't like doing it no more, I'm going to stop. 11 years in, I'm not there yet. It's different now. It's shifted now. But for the last almost 3 years, knowing that I get to come in here and hang out with you and listen to you, and I know how they respond to you, I know that we made the right choice being partners. So it's a good day for me, and I appreciate you. So say your shit.
As usual, I appreciate you
I'll
too.
make it weird. I'm always gonna make it weird. You know
I
am.
love you guys.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I think about you when we are not spending time together. You're a part of my family here in this Richmond market, and you create a level of brotherhood. And I've said it before, and I stand tall on it that um, it's not easy to find, and that you offer it, no strings attached, and are honest and give me your feedback and your insights. And I appreciate you both. And John is right. We need a revolution. You know, we need reform. And I never take it lightly when you talk about your experiences and what you see. I'm always respectful of the time you've put in and the things you've seen and why you might be saying what you say. And so I don't have to agree to see where the kernels of truth as you see it and how it can be applied and why it's valuable. So thank you for the continued education. And Marcus, thank you for always being a warrior for the platform. You know, you're right. Monday nights we all could be doing something else. But I think we all know that now is a salient time for education and engaging an audience. And there's a lot to be spoken about. And there's a lot that continues to go on. And there, unfortunately, will be a lot more that comes. And so, I'm happy that we get to spend time with our internet family and listening to their comments and listening to one another. What I would like to say, and I'll say it because I don't know how many days in December will be here, but I think we owe each other a measure of peace. And when I say we, I am talking about us folk. We are so used, Black people are so used to the crumbs that we are mad when someone else gets a cookie. We don't know how to take it. We've got to dissect it and turn it into something that reduces the value of it or takes away the joy that someone might be experiencing. And I think about Deion Sanders. You know, I think about the whole thing he went on where he was talking about that he doesn't have to impress anybody. That when he wakes up, he knows he's blessed and he knows where he comes from and what he's experienced and what his mother did for him and so on and so forth. And I would love to see us be each other's peace and actually live the language we speak. Live the language we speak. We speak that we want success and prosperity. And when someone earns it, we want to snatch it out of their hand. We want to diminish them. We want to make them apologize for it. And it doesn't have to be as big as it doesn't have to be as big as Prime, as Deion Sanders. It's in your own community. Trust me. If people feel this way about Deion Sanders, they feel this way about your promotion at your job. They feel this way about a young man's decision to run for a county seat to represent. They wonder, who does he think he is and why does he think he gets to? You should ask yourself why the reward that that eludes so many Black people, when it's finally given. Let's think about it. There have been many talented Black men who could coach at every level, NCAA, NFL, NCAA, all levels, and NFL, and they haven't gotten that opportunity. And the minute someone gets an opportunity to coach at the next level, we have to dissect it. We have to dissect why he now is not one of us. Is one of us only a reflection of us at our lowest? Are we only truly having a Black experience when we're poor and downtrodden and broken? Or do we get to have good experiences here on earth? Do we get to have the peace we say we want? I often think that we complain about things and don't change them. And then when good things happen, we complain because we want those things to change. And it's unfair. It is unfair. And I truly am hoping that the community that represents Blackness begins to be more conscious and comfortable when Blackness prospers. We're not all going to be rampant capitalists. We're not all going to say money at all cost. But to be able to see a man feed his family, take care of the community that he came from, take care of communities that are around him that benefit from him as a benefactor. Why is it so hard just to say, that's his blessing, that was meant for him? No matter how much I'm talking down on it, it wasn't meant for me. You weren't going to be the coach at Colorado. You weren't going to be, and you're not going to be the coach at Jackson State. Let Black people live. Black people. Let Black people live. Allow Black people the joy you swear white people don't want them to have. It's become apparent that the joy is more of a problem to our own and amongst our own, because those folks are not thinking about us. Extend peace to your brotherhood, to your sisterhood. Celebrate them when they grow. Enjoy when they prosper, even if it doesn't prosper you. Even if they don't open the door, be okay seeing one of your own do well. It is the thing, as ineloquently as he put it, it really is the thing that Kanye saw happening in Jewish communities and white communities and other communities. They are okay seeing one another prosper, as they should be. When will we get there? And that's my rant.
Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. live from New Den of Legacy Internet Radio. Thank you, everybody, for rocking. We'll close us out. Steph, you kind of gave me a little bit of a prelude. I've been thinking about this. I wasn't planning to rant about this, but I definitely been thinking about this. It's a perfect segue as I kind of shift us towards a close. But I've always been very clear about how much I love us. I love us. I love our people. Love Black people. I think often when we pronounce our love for our own people, those of us those of them who are not initially thought of as being our people feel away. Ain't nobody excluding you. Ain't nobody talking to you. When I say I love us, talking to us. Don't mean I hate you. I ain't thinking about you. I'm saying I love us. But a part of saying I love us means I got to call us out on our shit. And here's the part of us that I don't really love. I don't like it when we try to qualify each other's blackness. I don't like it when a situation comes up and there's this black consensus. If you don't agree with, you ain't black enough or you ain't black at all. If you don't agree that Deion Sanders is abandoning black people by leaving an HBCU and heading to the PWI, then you ain't about that life. If you like Stephen A. Smith, you just as cool as he is. You know what I'm saying? Like the same Stephen A. Smith who gives money to HBCUs because he's a product of one. The same Stephen A. Smith who always seems to have his thoughts in the right place with regards to our plight. But unless you only listen to him come for NBA players because it's his job to do that, you want to call him out his name, call him a coon. I just get frustrated with us when it comes to that. I wasn't planning on ranting on this, but we all know those black people. If you don't stand lockstep with your fist in the air and agree with every single thing that the consensus black folk got together and discussed, apparently you wasn't there for the meeting. Now all of a sudden you a coon. The fuck is that? Like, really, what is that? We got to be all together all the time and be the same ones that say things like, we are not a monolith. Yeah, yeah, we are. That we're to follow what you got to say, that we are a monolith. If we don't all think that Deion Sanders sold out, then yeah. If we all don't think that Barack Obama ain't do nothing for black folks, Kanye is the smartest one. He's smart, y'all, for real. Kanye is smart. He's smarter than all of us. Watch him. Yeah, I watched him go from billionaire to millionaire. And just because we talking about heirs doesn't mean we're not talking about a precipitous drop. Because anybody that goes from billionaire to millionaire, they failed that shit. It ain't smart if it's your big freaking mouth that caused you to do it. Like, really? Like, seriously. We the only people that do that. We the only people that run around and talk about, that's my N-word. We slur ourselves. And we argue over the right to do it. Because if you don't say it's okay to call your brother the N-word, you a coon. How fucking stupid are you? How stupid are you? Yeah, Uncle Tom. And those dummies who ain't read the book don't realize that Uncle Tom was an ally. We talking about Sambo. We talking about Sambo. Stop it. Stop qualifying your people over bullshit. Really. Stop qualifying your people over bullshit because we really are not a monolith. We not. We don't all agree with the same stuff. We don't all see blackness the same way. It's okay to view it differently. It's okay to not be lock stock with everybody. And it's okay to look at the people who want to throw shade at you and throw shade at them. This is what we do to each other. And it's not it's just simply not okay how we do that. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to say that just because it was on my spirit. Now I'll shift to the final stage of my rant. I've said a lot of this before. I'll say this again. I'm different in 2022 than I was in 2011 when we started this. You know, if you follow me in social media, you can see it there. I've always been very clear and transparent with my walk and my plight and how I view the world. It's my ministry coming on here. And I thank Jay Grizzy and Tim Casey so much, the two of them, because they gave me the opportunity and the platform to speak my truth and to speak my shit. I didn't have the avenue to do it, nor the desire to do it before. I might say my quick little things on Facebook. I used to do the moment in Black history. I would put my little quotes on there like we do on the show. That's where it came from, by the way. People who have known me and followed me on social media in the early days of Facebook, that's what I would put. Every single day I'd wake up in the morning, I would go on Facebook, the internet, and I'd look up and try to find moments. And then I would post it on this day, you know. And when I stopped doing it, people ask me, why'd you stop? No, I stopped because I stopped. But my ministry is what my ministry is. Our ministry is what our ministry is. And I'm very, very thankful for the opportunity to come in here every single week for 11 years. And you guys listen. We got some visitors and listeners and participators who have been with us the whole time. And there are some who are in and out. There are some who are with us now that wasn't with us before. And yeah, I'm different. Any man that's the same 11 years later is a man that wasted 11 years of his life. So yeah, I'm different. I don't keep my fist quite as firmly in the air as I did when we first started this because I see the world differently now. I'm so thankful for that. I'm blessed for that. And I'm thankful and blessed that those of you who are listening now, those of you who are listening in the future on our archives, and those of you who have listened in the past, supported John and supported Steph and supported Big Rube and S.Y. Butler and JR and Brandy and Toyana and Lissa and Grizzy and Tony and Joe and Ashley, Black Brown Betty, Apple Brown Betty, I'm sorry. Those folks who listen to All Throttle Radio and Enliven Radio and Twi After Dark and the pregame and all of the shows. It's been so many. I Got Something to Say. It's the name of one of our shows. And Doing Time. Michael White. I'm humbled, man. I'm just so humbled. And I appreciate y'all. If I missed your name, don't be mad at me. It's so many of y'all that it's impossible to name. But I remember you. I know you. I thank you. And I work with you and I fellowship with you. So I will end it there and say that's the Marcus's unrelated rant. It's got nothing to do with what we're here talking about tonight. It's the end of the show. I want to remind everybody that independence is key to building your legacy. Also want to say peace to all of the stars and all of the squares, the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty. Those are the words of Nesta Robert Marley, who you hear singing in the background. I'm going to get a couple of more comments in because they still coming. and then I will finalize. Coach says, well said. Miss Diana, our elder, is saying congratulations to you guys. Awesome. Always when I remember to get in. My note to you guys has always been divide and conquer. Just saying love you guys much more. Continued success. Peace. Miss Diana, peace to you too. For John, for Steph, I want to let you guys know that authenticity has no competition. I want you to be well. I want you to have peace. But always remember, keep it 100. Ain't no hashtag with Marcus J celebrating 11 years of rocking and rolling with y'all. We will be back on a later show. We love y'all. Holla at your family. This is the greatest time of our lives, man. Indulge it. Embrace it. Rock with us. We rolling with y'all. Peace.
Yeah. It's about that time. It's about that time to get.
Oh yeah, I'm with this, with me. I'm just gonna lay back and I'ma drop some smooth lyrics. So tune in 7 to 9:30 and don't be late. We about to set it straight. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Word. I'm ready, let's go. Ain't no half stepping, that's the name of the show. Yeah, Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah, Hunters talk sprinkle with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you wanna talk about, call it, we're hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. With the flow in this show, bring the heat. The word on the street, Wizard Earl on the beat. We superb in the D, legacy online. 7 to 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepper with Marcus J, my brother. If they can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission before force. And listen up, this Marcus Stage start to talk, running back. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission before force. And listen up, this Marcus Stage start to talk. Steppin' is the name of the show. Yeah, Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah, Hunters talk sprinkle with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you wanna talk about, call it, we're hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. Really know this show, bring the heat. The word on the street, Wizard Earl on the beat. We superb in the D, legacy online. 7 to 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepper with Marcus J, my brother. If they can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission before force. And listen up, this Marcus Stage start to talk.